Chapter 2002. At this moment, the Scourge God finally realized that this array formation was actually linked to the defensive array formation of the Black Fiend Abyss. The defensive formation of the Black Fiend Abyss wasn't something he could break. Even a Tao Lord expert might not be able to do it. He was just a half-step Tao Lord. Even with a supreme divine weapon like the Scourge Spear, he still couldn't do it. The formation set up by this young man was so mysterious that it was directly linked to the defensive formation of the Black Fiend Abyss. How did he do it? He must have used some kind of supreme treasure to link to the defensive formation of the Black Fiend Abyss. The Lunar Wrath deity didn't believe that it was because he had obtained a supreme inheritance or a supreme treasure from the Black Fiend Abyss that he was able to do all this. Because, it was rumored that the defensive formation of the Black Fiend Abyss was to prevent the devilish chi within the Black Fiend Abyss from leaking out, and to seal that supreme expert. Thus, if the boy before him had obtained the inheritance, it would be impossible for the inheritance to contain such a secret technique and treasure. Unless the boy himself possessed such an ability, and possessed such a formation treasure that could alter such a powerful defensive formation. No! The Divine Wrath Massacre God knew very well that it was impossible for him to break the array formation. This array formation was a defensive array formation connected to the Black Fiend Abyss. The person guarding the Skyspan continent would never allow anyone to break it. In that case, that brat was practically in an undefeatable position. The Scourge God was even more furious when he thought this through. He was the Palace Lord of the Scourge Palace, but he had been played by a mere emperor. If news of this got out, how could he show his face? Because of this, the Scourge God was even more furious. Little bastard, I didn't expect you to have such means. However, you still have to die. I can't break this formation for the time being, but killing you won't be a problem. As long as I kill you, I'll lose control of this formation and the formation will break on its own. The Divine Wrath Massacre deity had figured everything out. He instantly turned his spearhead and targeted Yang Hongwu. The terrifying power of the Heavenly Wrath Spear instantly condensed. This time, the Heavenly Wrath Spear's target was Yang Hongwu, not the defensive formation. Because, Tai Tulong and Mountain Sea Guanyue were on high alert. This time, the Scourge God wasn't attacking the formation but was targeting them. The two of them had no ability to resist. But they had no choice but to block it. If they couldn't, only death would await them. How could they not be worried? Two Tai Tulong and Tai Tulong had already taken out their weapons and raised their auras to the maximum. At this moment, they were already in peak condition. They were only waiting to block this attack. If they could block it, they could live. If they couldn't, only death would await them. This was a struggle between life and death. Only looking at the Scourge Spear, the power of the Scourge God was faintly flickering like ripples on the surface of a lake. Under the power of the Scourge God, the entire space seemed to be on the verge of shattering. It seemed to be moving slowly, but in fact, it was breaking through space. Its speed was unbelievable. In the blink of an eye, the Scourge Spear appeared in front of the three of them. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. Scourge God, I didn't expect you to discover it. Unfortunately, it's too late. You've used up too much energy. Moreover, I've already set it up. It's impossible for you to deal with me now. Yang Hongwu was full of confidence. With a wave of his hand, a huge furnace appeared. The Devouring Furnace. This was Yang Hongwu's Devouring Furnace. This supreme divine ability had now been strengthened, allowing Yang Hongwu to integrate into the formation. At this moment, the Devouring Furnace's power had increased by many times compared to before. In particular, its defense was even more shocking. It could be said that unless a Tao Lord took action or Yang Hongwu used up all his magic power and mental energy, no one would be able to break through the defenses of the cauldron. Yang Hongwu and the other two were enveloped in the Devouring Furnace. The Scourge Spear instantly struck the Devouring Furnace. With a loud bang, a terrifying force exploded. The world seemed to be torn apart. Cracks appeared in the void as if it was about to collapse. However, the Devouring Furnace only shook a little and made a loud noise. It was as unbreakable as the great bell of heaven and earth. It seemed that if one wanted to break this furnace, they would have to destroy this part of the world. The surrounding disciples of the Scourge Palace could not believe that their palace lord, who used to be invincible, had been defeated time and time again. Moreover, his opponent was only an emperor. Everyone looked at Yan Hanwu in shock. They were all speculating about the background of this young man, the emperor-level warrior. He actually had so many techniques and such ability. With a mere emperor-level cultivation, he was able to block the strongest Scourge god of the Scourge Palace, who was a half-step Tao Lord. Such methods, such ability, how enviable was it? If they had such ability, why would they have to submit to others? Even more. Some female disciples looked at Yan Hanwu with sparkling eyes. Year. Qi Xiao, talented and powerful. He had many techniques and seemingly endless treasures. Such a young man, such a husband, could not be more perfect. One failure after failure infuriated the divine wrath massacre god. However, he suppressed the flames in his heart. Where in the world did this young man come from? To think that he would have such means and so many treasures to protect himself. Could it be that this lad has really met Tao Lord Berserker before? Thinking of this, the murderous aura in the Sky Wrath Massacre god's eyes lessened. This young man was too strange and too terrifying. His cultivation base was only at the Sovereign Emperor realm, but he relied on various means and treasures to block his attack. Even if he continued, he might not be able to kill him. Moreover, even if he could kill him, he would have to pay a great price. However, the Heavenly Wrath Massacre god was extremely unwilling to give up just like that. The kid before him had very likely obtained a supreme inheritance from the Black Fiend Abyss, an unparalleled treasure that countless powerhouses were vying for. Although he said that he had the Heavenly Wrath Spear, he knew very well that he had not completely mastered or refined it. He only had the temporary right to use it. The owner of the Heavenly Wrath Spear was the weapon of the Scourge Palace Lord, the Scourge Tao Lord. As the successor of the Scourge Palace Lord and the Scourge Palace Lord, he only had the right to use it. He did not truly possess the Heavenly Wrath Spear. Chapter 2003. The Divine Wrath Massacre god longed for a supreme treasure that truly belonged to him. The Sky Demon Tao Sword in the Black Fiend Abyss was exactly what he wanted. Once he obtained the supreme inheritance, it meant that he had a 90% chance of breaking through to the Tao Lord realm. Once he entered the Tao Lord realm, it was equivalent to reaching the heavens in a single bound. This was also the reason why he was so determined to obtain the supreme inheritance and supreme treasure. Yan Hanwu didn't care about what he was thinking. At this moment, Yan Hanwu wanted to completely destroy the Divine Wrath Massacre god. Lang Yan Hanwu couldn't tolerate wasting his time. Moreover, it could be said that he had already reached a point where it was either you die or I die. It was impossible for him to retreat at this time. Old thing, the formation can't be broken. Your time of death has come. Your supreme treasure, the Divine Wrath Spear, is mine, Yan Hanwu said. The Divine Wrath Massacre god widened his eyes when he heard these words. His fury had reached its peak. This little bastard actually dared to be so arrogant. He was so arrogant that he even vainly wanted his Divine Wrath Spear. What a bold claim. What a big tone. If I don't kill you today, I won't be the Divine Wrath Massacre god. The Divine Wrath Massacre god roared and erupted with all his magic power. He grabbed the Divine Wrath Spear tightly in his hand. The Divine Wrath Spear shone brightly and turned into a sharp arrow that shot towards Yan Hanwu. If it hit, Yan Hanwu would probably be killed or crippled. This one attack was the Divine Wrath Massacre god's full strength. This time, the Divine Wrath Massacre god was attacking with all his might. He didn't have any defense. This was enough to prove how angry Yan Hanwu was when he said those words. This one, an Emperor Realm warrior, actually wanted to snatch his Divine Wrath Spear. This was contempt and humiliation. This one, just now, Yan Hanwu had said that he would kill him. He still wanted to infuriate him. Yan Hanwu smiled as he watched the Heaven's Wrath god launch an all-out attack at him. This old man had finally been completely enraged by him and had lost his mind. This old thing was very strong, but now, he had lost his mind. This meant that his plan had succeeded. It wouldn't be easy to deal with this old man if he was always so calm. After all, the other party's strength was obvious. But now, the old man had lost his mind and was crazily attacking Yan Hongwu. Yan Hongwu knew that his opportunity had come. And just as the heavenly wrath spear was about to hit him, he used void travel and disappeared. The heavenly wrath god's attack was completely ineffective. After his attack missed, it was as if he had punched cotton, making him feel extremely aggrieved. This guy was actually toying with him. This made the heavenly wrath god extremely angry. His eyes were red and his veins were bulging. A violent aura erupted from his body. The disciples of the heavenly wrath palace who were close to him were all sent flying. When Yan Hongwu appeared again, the heavenly wrath god attacked Yan Hongwu again. Die! Ha! Don't you want to kill me? Come on! Yan Hongwu continued to taunt him. He didn't care at all. This guy couldn't kill him now, so he didn't have any worries. Besides, this was still within his formation. The old man couldn't do anything to him. He couldn't even break the formation. He was really in an invincible position. In fact, Yan Hongwu really didn't have enough confidence in provoking the old man if they were in another place. However, here, at the edge of Black Fiend Town, using the defensive formation of Black Fiend Abyss and Black Fiend Town as a combination to form a composite formation with infinite power, he wouldn't be able to resist the attack of the Heavenly Wrath Spear in the Heavenly Wrath God's hand even if he used the Life Seal and the Hong Meng Saber as the eye of the formation. Therefore, Yan Hongwu was able to suppress the Heavenly Wrath God under these favorable circumstances. He was able to taunt the Heavenly Wrath God without the slightest scruple. Furthermore, the old man was helpless. If I don't kill you, I swear I'm not human. The Heavenly Wrath God roared. At this moment, the Heavenly Wrath God no longer had that high and mighty look. He was like an injured mad dog. Seal! Yan Hongwu shouted. Hongwu roared and struck out with a hand seal. Instantly, the spell formation turned into a seal, which enveloped the Heavenly Wrath God slaying God. This formation was something that Yan Hongwu had developed by referring to the curse seal that Berserker had used to seal the Sky Fiend. When this seal was integrated into a large formation, its might was very tyrannical. Now, Yan Hongwu's method of arranging formations could be said to be unpredictable. He could change the formation at any time, making it both offensive and defensive. Open! The Heavenly Wrath God sensed Yan Hongwu's intention and naturally wasn't willing to be sealed. If he was sealed, he would completely lose the chance to kill Yan Hongwu. Moreover, there might even be great danger. Here, although the Heavenly Wrath God was still infuriated and his killing intent towards Yan Hongwu was getting stronger, he still felt the danger. Here therefore, the moment Yan Hongwu set up the formation, the Heavenly Wrath God weakened his attack on Yan Hongwu and changed his main target to the formation. First, he had to break the formation. He absolutely couldn't let it be sealed. Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue were shocked. They didn't expect Yan Hongwu to be so strong. It was as if there was no upper limit to his strength. He could defeat anyone. They couldn't see where his upper limit was. This was the most terrifying thing about him. You still can't break this formation. Your time of death has come. If you know what's good for you and hand over the Heavenly Wrath Spear, I can spare your life. Yan Hongwu looked at the Heavenly Wrath God and said, "Of course, you can also choose to submit to me and become my servant. That way, you won't have to hand over the Heavenly Wrath Spear." The Heavenly Wrath God was even more furious when he heard Yan Hongwu's words. This was equivalent to saying the same thing to Yan Hongwu back to him. This made the Heavenly Wrath God's blood rush to his head. Damned little bastard, you're forcing my hand. The Heaven's Wrath God didn't care about anything else at this moment. He was an unparalleled expert of the sky-reaching continent, and his combat strength was ranked in the top 3 of the sky-reaching continent. Yet, he was being humiliated like this. It was worse than killing him. Magic power burn, Heaven's wrath spear, annihilation. At this moment, the god of Scourge actually burned his own dermic powers and turned into a sun, emitting a terrifying light. The Heaven's wrath spear also grew brighter and brighter. At this moment, the Heaven's wrath spear exploded with an aura that could destroy everything. This aura was actually comparable to a Tao Lord expert. Chapter 2004. Even if I have to pay a high price, I will kill you. Divine Wrath God roared. Entire. It was as if he didn't care about anything else and was now fighting with his life on the line. In the face of such a situation, Yang Hanwu was having a headache. I can't defeat him. Yang Hanwu thought to himself. At this time, it would be too stupid to confront him like this. At this time, if he fought with his life on the line, he wouldn't be able to resist at all. Even if he could kill his opponent, the consumption would be too great. It could be said that the loss outweighed the gain. Therefore, Yang Hanwu wanted to avoid the battle. After Divine Wrath God's strong period, he couldn't burn his spiritual power for long. Once his spiritual power was exhausted, then it would be his chance. Bam! Divine Wrath God's attack was too overbearing. Its speed was also very shocking. At this moment, after burning his spiritual power, its power was simply off the charts. With a loud bang, this attack instantly destroyed a house. Yang Hanwu was caught off guard and was sent flying. This attack injured him. Little bastard, your time has come. Today, I must kill you. Seeing Yang Hanwu injured, Divine Wrath God seemed to have received a great encouragement. He became even crazier and rushed in front of Yang Hanwu in an instant. Yang! Seeing his opponent rushing over, Hanwu disappeared in a flash. Take! With a wave of his hand, a defensive barrier appeared in front of him. This blocked another attack from Divine Wrath God. Just when he was about to kill Yang Hanwu, such a formation appeared and blocked his attack. He couldn't kill Yang Hanwu. This made Divine Wrath God very sullen and depressed. Die! Divine Wrath God's expression became uglier after each attack was neutralized. There was no other way. He couldn't kill his opponent. You can't kill me. Now it's my turn. Yang Hanwu saw that Divine Wrath God was almost exhausted. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for. At this moment, Divine Wrath God was exhausted. At this time, the Divine Wrath Spear was far less powerful than before. While Yang Hanwu himself had taken a few pills. In addition to the power of the devouring furnace, his consumption was very small. It could even be said that he didn't consume any energy at all. He was already in peak condition. Prison of heaven and earth. Sleepy! Yang Hanwu shouted, and a strong light burst out from his hand. The light turned into a huge prison, instantly trapping the Scourge God inside, making it impossible for him to move. Damn it, open for me! The Scourge Slayer God was infuriated. He attacked the prison in a frenzy, trying to break it. However, all his efforts were in vain. The power of the prison seemed to be an unbreakable prison, trapping him within. It seemed that only death awaited him. There was no way out. What secret technique is this? At this moment, the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God felt the threat of death. True death terrified him. His frenzied killing intent began to fade, replaced by endless fear. A secret technique that can kill you. After Yang Hanwu trapped him, the devouring furnace erupted. The power of creation was integrated into it. What was even more terrifying was that the endless red lotus karmic fire turned into a terrifying fire dragon, flying towards the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God. The Heaven's Wrath Massacre God, who was trapped in the prison of heaven and earth, had no room to resist. He could only defend himself. Face the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God regretted Yang Hanwu's terrifying methods. He regretted provoking this young man. Kid, let me go. Although he regretted it, he wouldn't show it on his face. At this moment, he was trying his best to resist Yang Hanwu's attack. He looked at Yang Hanwu with a ruthless gaze. If looks could kill, Yang Hanwu would have died a tragic death. In fact, Yan Hanwu didn't expect to be able to trap the Heaven's Wrath God. After all, the Heaven's Wrath Spear was the Heaven's Wrath prison. It was really lucky that the Heaven and Earth prison could trap him. If he hadn't lost his mind and gone crazy, Yan Hanwu wouldn't have stood a chance. I said it's impossible. If you surrender and hand over the Heaven's Wrath Spear, I can spare your life, Yan Hanwu said. Here, although the Heaven's Wrath Spear was trapped by Yan Hanwu, it was still impossible for him to seize the Heaven's Wrath Spear directly. He could only trap the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God and the Heaven's Wrath Spear in the prison and use the devouring furnace, the power of creation, and the powerful karmic fire to burn away the Heaven's Wrath Spear and the Heaven's Wrath Spear. Here Yan Hanwu could still kill the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God and seize the Heaven's Wrath Spear if he persisted. However, it would take too much time. It wasn't something that could be done in a short time. Here, what Yan Hanwu lacked was time. He didn't want to waste too much time. If not for the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God, Yan Hanwu would have already returned to the deity realm. Here at that time, Yan Hanwu could actually give up on the Heavenly Wrath Massacre God and ignore him. He could directly leave Black Fiend Town, go to Iron Mountain City, refine the planar boat, and then return to the Divine Realm. But now that things had come to this point, Yan Hanwu was unwilling to give up. No matter what, he had to try to seize the Heaven's Wrath Spear. Little guy, let him go. At this moment, a voice sounded. Yan Hanwu was naturally familiar with this voice. It was none other than Ji's voice. Yan Hanwu was very surprised. He didn't understand. Did the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God have some background? Shiga actually wanted him to let him go. Senior, is that you? Yan Hanwu asked. It's me. Give me face and let the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God go. Is that okay? Ji's voice sounded in Yan Hanwu's spiritual sea. Why? Yan Hanwu asked. He wants to kill me. Senior, you want me to let him go like this? Of course, Yan Hanwu was unwilling. What kind of joke was this? The other party wanted to kill him. Now, he wanted him to let him go so easily. This was impossible. It wasn't Yan Hanwu's style of doing things. Can you give me a reason to let him go? He's the only descendant of a friend of mine. Shiga sighed. If you let him go, I can compensate you. Ji's tone revealed helplessness. From what Yan Hanwu heard, this Shiga seemed to have some unclear relationship with the Heaven's Wrath Massacre God. As for what it was, Yan Hanwu wasn't interested in knowing. After all, this was his personal matter. I can let him go, but I want the Heaven's Wrath Spear. Yan Hanwu said. Chapter 2005. It's my business whether I can refine it or not. You can't expect me to let him go like this, right? Yan Hanwu said. How about this? I have something here that might be of some help to you. Although it's not as good as the Heaven's Wrath Spear, I think you should want it very much. Shiga said. What is it? Yan Hanwu didn't think that there was anything that could be compared to the Heaven's Wrath Spear. It was a supreme treasure that could be compared to the Life Seal. A fragment of the Life Seal. Shiga said. What? Yan Hanwu exclaimed. He couldn't believe his ears. If it was really a fragment of the Life Seal, then it was really important to Yan Hanwu. It was far more precious than the Heaven's Wrath Spear. Although the Heaven's Wrath Spear was also a supreme treasure that could be compared to the Life Seal, it wasn't very useful to Yan Hanwu. The Life Seal was the supreme treasure that was most compatible with him. Shiga was right. Even if he obtained the Heaven's Wrath Spear, the possibility of refining it was too small. Moreover, supreme treasures like the Life Seal and the Heaven's Wrath Spear were almost impossible to coexist. Therefore, even if Yan Hanwu refined the Heaven's Wrath Spear, he could still display the might of the Heaven's Wrath Spear. It might even cause a conflict between the Heaven's Wrath Spear and the Life Seal. If the two supreme treasures fought to the death, then the loss wouldn't make up for the gains. You really have a fragment of the Life Seal? Yan Hanwu took a deep breath and asked. If he could obtain a fragment of the Life Seal, then it would mean that his Life Seal would be complete. For Yang Hanwu, this was extremely important. Previously, Yang Hanwu had received news that a fragment of the Life's Great Seal was in a small world. Originally, Yang Hanwu had planned to find a way to go to that small world to look for it after dealing with the matters in the divine realm. However, if Zhiga could get that fragment for him, it would naturally be for the best. Of course. Zhiga said, I have no reason to lie to you. You should have already obtained most of the fragments of the common people's Great Seal. Although the fragment I have here is not the largest, if I give it to you, the common people's Great Seal that you have is not complete, but it should be the last fragment. Yang Hanwu took a deep breath and said, Good, if it's the fragment of the Life Seal, then I agree. Good. As the sound of Zhi Ji's voice faded, a beam of light flew towards Yang Hanwu. This object was filled with boundless life Qi. This object was none other than the fragment of the Great Seal of Life that Yang Hanwu was familiar with. The aura of this fragment was comparable to an entire world. Hanwu was overjoyed. He waved his hand and collected the fragment into his common people's great world. After this fragment entered the common people's great world, Yang Hanwu's aura began to grow. The entry of this fragment caused the aura of the common people's Great Seal to increase exponentially. Of course, Yang Hanwu had yet to completely refine it. This fragment seemed to have given birth to a shred of will. This trace of will seemed to want to fight for the initiative, and was unwilling to be erased. Therefore, if Yang Hanwu wanted to truly subdue and refine it, then he had to completely refine this fragment and merge it with his life seal. After Yang Hanwu agreed, he sensed that the prison of heaven and earth he had set up had been dispersed by an invisible force. The force wrapped around the heavenly Wrath Godslayer and the heavenly Wrath Spear as it tore through the void and teleported to the outside world. Look! Seeing this scene, Yang Hanwu was incomparably shocked. Powerful, Zhiga's strength was too powerful. He was actually able to break through his formation so easily and directly lead people out. This kind of strength was far from what he could compare to. If Yang Hanwu did not agree to let go of the Heaven's Wrath God-slaying spear and the Heaven's Wrath God-slaying spear in his hand, Zhiga could forcefully take them away. This feeling made Yang Hanwu extremely uncomfortable. His life was in the hands of others. If Zhiga really wanted to do something to him, he could easily kill him. In the end, he was still too weak. His cultivation was not enough, and his life was not in his control. Especially when he was in the world of others. This made him even more aggrieved. This was the Zhiga Divine Palace, the inner world of Zhiga. If Zhiga wanted to kill him, it would be easy. If he was in an ordinary small world, he could rely on his Dharma Eye of Annihilation to gain an absolute advantage. However, it was impossible to do so in the heaven-reaching realm. Once he used his Dharma Eye of Annihilation to destroy this world, he would probably be directly destroyed. Therefore, at this moment, Yang Hanwu did not want to continue staying in the Zhiga Divine Palace. Young Master. After Heaven's Wrath God disappeared, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue were shocked. Heaven's Wrath God was a half-step Tao Lord with a supreme treasure like the Heaven's Wrath Spear. However, he was still suppressed and disappeared. Could it be that Yang Hanwu killed him or even turned him into ashes? If this was true, it would be terrifying. The disciples of the Heaven's Wrath Palace were even more shocked and worried. This was especially true for Heaven's Wrath Mountain. He could no longer feel the aura of his son, Heaven's Wrath God. This terrified him to the extreme. He was well aware of how powerful his son was. In the heaven-reaching realm, there were very few who could fight against him. There was no one who could kill him. Even the heaven-reaching ancestor could not do so. After all, the heaven-reaching ancestor was publicly acknowledged as the #1 expert in the entire heaven-reaching realm. Little bastard, where's my son? Heaven's Wrath Mountain shouted. He was afraid. If Heaven's Wrath God was killed, it would be a fatal blow to the Heaven's Wrath Palace and him. Heaven's Wrath God? Yang Hanwu laughed. I've already exiled him. Now it's time for all of you to die. Naturally, Hanwu wasn't stupid enough to reveal that Heaven's Wrath God had been rescued by Zhiga. However, Yang Hanwu found it strange. Heaven's Wrath God seemed to have a deep relationship with Zhiga. However, his father, Heaven's Wrath Mountain, didn't seem to have any relationship with Jigo. Could it be that Heaven's Wrath God was the reincarnation of someone from Jigo? That was true. That was the only plausible explanation. Of course, perhaps Heaven's Wrath God was the successor of one of Ji's friends. However, this was nothing to Yan Hanwu. He didn't care. Chapter 2006. Everyone, let's fight him! Heaven's Wrath Mountain shouted. He didn't believe that Yan Hanwu could defeat Heaven's Wrath God. However, Yan Hanwu was here as if nothing had happened, while his son, Heaven's Wrath God, had disappeared. This made him very worried. Even his aura had disappeared from this side of the world. If someone said that Heaven's Wrath God was fine, he wouldn't believe it. Moreover, Heaven's Wrath Mountain knew very well that Yan Hanwu would definitely not let him go. He had always been like this when dealing with his enemies. Therefore, he could foresee that Yan Hanwu would be the same. He would eliminate them all. If that was the case, it was better to fight to the death. Perhaps, they might still have a chance of survival. When the people of Heaven's Wrath Palace heard this, some of their eyes turned red. A strong fighting spirit erupted from their bodies. It was very intense. These people, these disciples, were the most loyal subordinates of Heaven's Wrath God. Their master had been killed, so they would definitely take revenge. But, yes, there were some who weren't like this. Although they were also disciples of Heaven's Wrath Palace, they weren't that loyal. In the face of life and death, loyalty had to be thrown aside. Life was the most important. What are you all standing there for? Do you think he will let us go? Stop dreaming. He will definitely not let us go. Only by attacking together will we have a chance of survival. Other than that, we have no other chance. Seeing that some disciples of Heaven's Wrath Palace didn't show any signs of moving, Heaven's Wrath Mountain was furious. These bastards had once received the protection of Heaven's Wrath Palace and received so many resources. Now that Heaven's Wrath God was in trouble, they didn't even think of repaying his kindness. Sir, we are willing to submit. What Heaven's Wrath Mountain didn't expect was that his words not only made some of the disciples launch a life and death attack on Yan Hanwu, but also made them surrender directly. They knew that Yan Hanwu was too strong. Moreover, although they were disciples of Heaven's Wrath Palace, in reality, many of them were bullied by Heaven's Wrath Mountain. They had long disliked Heaven's Wrath Mountain. Now that Heaven's Wrath God was dead and there was such a strong enemy, it would be strange if they didn't resist. This was their best chance. Tang Jirhui, you are courting death. Do you know that? I will kill you. Heaven's Wrath Mountain's wrath reached the extreme. He brandished his weapon and charged towards Tang Jirhui. This time, he wanted to kill this traitor. Heaven's Wrath Mountain, I have tolerated you for a long time. Tang Jirhui was furious when he heard that. He refused to back down. Although he was slightly weaker than the Heaven's Wrath Mountain, he was still a ruler. He was an elder of the Heaven's Wrath Palace, so his status was naturally much lower than the Heaven's Wrath Mountains. He had always been bullied by the Heaven's Wrath Mountain. It had begun when he joined the Heaven's Wrath Palace. After so many years of resentment, he finally exploded. You've done so many things in the past. You forced my partner to her death, and you killed my disciple. Do you think I don't know? Tang Jirhui said loudly, everyone, don't listen to him. That bastard from Heaven's Wrath Mountain has done a lot of heinous things. You should all be well aware of this. Even the resources that we've obtained from fighting for our lives will be ruthlessly snatched away by them. Are you willing to accept this? So many disciples of Heaven's Wrath Palace heard this and remembered the many unfair things Heaven's Wrath Mountain had done to them. They were all furious. Now, young master's strength is unparalleled. We are following the will of the heavens. If we go against young master, only death awaits us. Tang Jirhui shouted. We are willing to submit to young master. The other disciples of Heaven's Wrath Palace also changed sides. This sudden change caught Yan Hanwu off guard. However, it was normal. God. Heaven's Wrath Mountain's way of doing things was too ruthless. who knew how many things he had done wrong to the disciples of Heaven's Wrath Palace. Now that his backer had fallen, how could others not explode? You all deserve to die. Kill them first. Kill these traitors. Heaven's Wrath Mountain naturally had a lot of confidence. He controlled the majority of Heaven's Wrath Palace's power. These people were his confidants. There were many death warriors. The disciples and death warriors were naturally loyal to him. Soon, the two groups of people clashed. Yang Hanwu, Tai Tulong, and the others became outsiders. This change was too sudden and too dramatic. Let people be caught off guard. Yang Hanwu didn't care. Hanwu couldn't be bothered with this. Looking at these people, Yang Hanwu frowned slightly. Of course, he was leaving because he wanted to nurture some forces for his son, Yang Tianjun. Tai Tulong was unreliable, but these people could still be used well. If they kept each other in check, it might work. If he left Heaven's Wrath Palace to Yang Tianjun, he didn't have enough power to suppress it. His cultivation was too weak. Once he left, Yang Tianjun didn't have the strength of a half-step Tao Lord. He also controlled so many resources. Heaven's Wrath Palace, Black Fiend Town, and Iron Mountain City. How could he control them if he wasn't strong enough? It would definitely attract the attention of other experts. When the time came, it would cause great trouble for Yang Tianjun. It might even endanger his life. What do we do now, young master? Tai Tulong asked. Tai Tulong really wanted to take control of Heaven's Wrath Palace. It was much stronger than his Iron Mountain City. If he could take control of Heaven's Wrath Palace, Iron Mountain City would become one of the top factions in Skyspan. Add to that the countless resources in Heaven's Wrath Palace, and he might even have a chance to become a half-step Tao Lord. It was impossible for him not to be envious. He knew very well that Yang Hanwu would leave sooner or later. If Yang Hanwu took control of Heaven's Wrath Palace, he would have a very good chance of becoming its master. The only obstacles were Yang Hongwu's son, Yang Tianjun, and Mountain Si Guanyue. He didn't fear Yang Hongwu's son, Yang Tianjun. He was very weak, not even at the ruler realm. Even if his combat strength was shocking, he was only at the early ruler realm. The only one who posed the greatest threat to him was Mountain Si Guanyue. Chapter 2007. However, what he didn't know was that his thoughts couldn't escape Yang Hongwu's eyes. Yang Hanwu knew exactly what he was thinking. Young master, this is a good opportunity to subdue the Heavenly Scourge Palace. The Heavenly Scourge Palace is one of the top forces in Tongtian continent. If young master can unify the Heavenly Scourge Palace, then young master can become the ruler of the top forces in Tongtian continent. Seeing Yang Hanwu remain silent, Tai Tulong continued. Unify the Scourge Palace? Yang Hanwu looked at Tai Tulong. How could he not know what he was thinking? I'll leave this place sooner or later. Unifying the Scourge Palace won't do me any good, Yang Hanwu said. I think Tai Tulong wants to unify the Scourge Palace himself. At this moment, Shanhai Guanyue opened her mouth. Although she was tempted, she also wanted to unify the Scourge Palace. If she could merge the Scourge Palace into Shanghai City, then the strength of Shanghai City would rise to an unbelievable level. However, she wasn't like Tai Tulong. She knew her own limits. Although she was a late-stage ruler, if Yang Hanwu wanted to unify the Scourge Palace in Shanghai City, she wouldn't have the ability to do so. Even if a faction like the Scourge Palace was successfully unified, it wouldn't last long without a half-step Tao Lord. It would be swallowed up by other powerful factions. Nonsense. Tai Tulong hurriedly explained, don't listen to her nonsense, young master. That's not what I meant. Even if young master wants to leave the Tongtian continent, the young master still has to stay here. You should leave some resources for the young master, right? If young master doesn't take me with you, I'll definitely do my best to support the young master. My Iron Mountain City will naturally submit to the young master. Shanhai Guanyue frowned slightly. She wasn't very clear about these matters. All right, stop arguing. Yang Hanwu looked at the two coldly. Both of them were ambitious people, but it was undeniable that Tai Tulong's ambitions were greater. Here at this time, the Heaven's Wrath Mountain and the traders of the Heaven's Wrath Palace were already locked in battle. However, the Heaven's Wrath Mountain was powerful and had many trump cards. In the end, they had the upper hand. Yang Hanwu was not in a hurry to make a move. In fact, he had been wondering if he should subdue the Heavenly Scourge Palace and combine the power of the Heavenly Scourge Palace in Black Fiend Town. If Yang Hanwu really did that, it would indeed give birth to a huge force. However, this force would not be something that Yang Tianjun could control. This was what Yang Hanwu was worried about. Yang Tianjun was not like him, as he did not have that many powerful trump cards. While moreover, he had no way of passing those mistakes to his son, Yang Tianjun. That was a huge problem. You're the ones who forced me to do this. Die! At this moment, a furious roar erupted as a terrifying aura appeared. This aura came from the Heaven's Wrath Mountain. At this moment, the Heaven's Wrath Mountain took out an item that was filled with a terrifying devil chi. This devil chi seemed to have come from a supreme devil realm. This devil chi, even Yang Hanwu was shocked by this devil chi. The Heaven's Wrath Mountain opened a box, and a wisp of green smoke came out of the box. This wisp of green smoke instantly fused into the Heaven's Wrath Mountain's forehead. At this moment, the Heaven's Wrath Mountain's expression changed, and his aura became extremely terrifying. Devil chi devil. No, it should be that he had turned into another person. He was a terrifying devil. The moment this devil appeared, the entire Black Fiend Town was shrouded in a terrifying aura. This was the aura of lightning. This was the heavenly tribulation. In the void, a huge tribulation cloud appeared. It was filled with purple lightning that was enough to destroy the world. This purple lightning tribulation was directed at the Heaven's Wrath Mountain. The Heaven's Wrath Mountain had now turned into a terrifying devil. The aura of this devil was very familiar to Yang Hanwu. It was very similar to the Heaven's Wrath Mountain. The Heavenly Demon Clan? Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. No, that's not right. This isn't the Heavenly Demon Clan. Could it be the Heavenly Demon Clan? In the myriad worlds, there was the Heavenly Demon Clan. In fact, there was also the Heavenly Demon Clan. The Heavenly Demon Clan wasn't the Heavenly Demon that Yang Hanwu knew. The legendary Heavenly Demon Clan was even stronger and more terrifying than Zetian's original body. It was rumored that the patriarch of the Heavenly Demon Clan was extremely powerful at his peak. It was rumored that he was in existence above the Tao Lord realm. Of course, Yang Hanwu didn't know any of this. He only knew some clues about the so-called Heavenly Demon Clan. At this moment, although the aura of the Heaven's Wrath Mountain was similar to the Heaven's Wrath of the Heavenly Demon Clan, there was still a huge difference. This is the aura of the Heavenly Demon Clan. Suddenly, a memory flashed in Yang Hanwu's mind. This was the memory that he had obtained from Yi Tianqing's mind. Yang Hanwu had originally thought that it was the Heavenly Demon Clan, but that wasn't the case. This was the aura of the Heavenly Demon Clan. It was the aura of the Heavenly Demon Clan after becoming a demon. The king of the Heavenly Demon Clan in the Heavenly Demon Realm was the Heavenly Demon Monarch. He was the descendant of the Heavenly Demon Emperor. He had always wanted to find the Heavenly Demon Dao Sword and become the true emperor of the Heavenly Demon Clan. Actually, the Heavenly Demon Monarch was also a ruthless person. He was very talented, but his bloodline power was restricted. There was no way for him to break through the shackles and break through the bloodline restrictions left behind by the Heavenly Demon Emperor. This was why he couldn't reach the level of the Heavenly Demon Emperor. However, he didn't have the Heavenly Demon Dao Sword and hadn't become the true emperor of the Heavenly Demon Clan. Therefore, he couldn't obtain the recognition of the ancient existences of the Heavenly Demon Clan. However, in order to break through the bloodline restrictions, he found another way to strip away his demonic side. His demonic side came from the pressure of the Heavenly Demon King. The Heavenly Demon King was like a huge mountain that was pressing down on his head, giving birth to an inner demon. Now, the thing that the Heaven's Wrath Mountain had obtained from the box was the Heavenly Demon King's inner demon. Although the heavenly demon monarch's strength wasn't as terrifying as the heavenly demon emperor's, he was still a mid-stage Tao Lord. His strength was very terrifying, so his mental demon naturally wasn't weak. This in fact, Yi Tianqing had brought a wisp of inner demon into the sky-reaching continent. Chapter 2008. Wild Warrior and Zhige actually sensed it after it was sent in, but they didn't care. More importantly, Zhige had deliberately left this inner demon behind. Of course, the reason why Zhige didn't eliminate this inner demon had a lot to do with the Heavenly Demon King. If the Heavenly Demon King's inner demon was eliminated, then the Heavenly Demon King would have a great chance of breaking through to the Heavenly Demon King's realm. In that case, the sealed Heavenly Demon King's strength would be weakened, but the strength of the Heavenly Demon Clan would increase greatly. Therefore, Zhige didn't want the Heavenly Demon race's strength to increase for the time being. However, if he didn't remove the Heavenly Demon King's inner demon, the Heavenly Demon King wouldn't be able to increase his strength. However, if the Heavenly Demon King found a chance to break through the seal, his strength would be much more terrifying than the Heavenly Demon King. After all, the Heavenly Demon King was in existence on the same level as him. Now, Zhige didn't have that much time to suppress the Heavenly Demon King. He also had enemies who were even more terrifying and put him under great pressure. Of course, Yan Hanwu didn't know this. He was still far from reaching that level. "Kid, your aura is making me very uncomfortable." The Heaven's Wrath Mountain looked at Yan Hanwu. In fact, it could be said that the Heaven's Wrath Mountain was a combination of the Heaven's Wrath Monarch's inner demon and the Heaven's Wrath Mountain. He was a completely different person. His strength had increased tremendously and was comparable to a Tao Lord expert. He was no longer in existence that a half-step Tao Lord could fight against. Yan Hongwu's expression changed. This was really troublesome. He hadn't expected the Heaven's Wrath Mountain to use such a trump card. Clang. However, compared to death, this was actually much better. Originally, Yan Hanwu had thought that if these fellows had just left, he wouldn't have wasted his time chasing after them. However, these guys thought that he would chase after them relentlessly. This made Yan Hanwu feel helpless. At this stage, the Heavenly Demon King's inner demon still appeared. This made Yan Hanwu very speechless. Since he didn't go looking for trouble, but trouble would always come looking for him. It was very helpless, very annoying. "So what?" Yan Hanwu said, "Should I call you Heaven's Wrath Mountain now? Or a Heavenly Demon Monarch? Be it Heaven's Wrath Mountain or Heavenly Demon Monarch." The other party's eyes narrowed. Demonic Chief flickered as he said, "That's not my name. I'm now called the Heavenly Demon King." Heavenly Devil King? Yan Hanwu was slightly taken aback when he heard this. He did not expect this fellow to think of himself as a demon and was even a Heavenly Demon King. The king of the Celestial Devil Clan. However, there were many devil clans and the Celestial Devil Clan had many levels. If the Celestial Devil Clan was truly at the top, it would be extremely terrifying, comparable to the Heavenly Monster Clan. But now, if this guy could break through to the next level, he could really become the king of the celestial demons. However, this fellow was merely an inner demon. Even after fusing with the Heaven's Wrath Mountain, it was impossible for him to become the true ruler of the celestial demons. "Brat, your strength is not bad, and your talent is also very shocking. How about you submit to me?" At this moment, the Heaven Demon King said. Yang Hongwu laughed. This guy actually dared to say such a thing. "Are you here to make fun of me?" Yan Hanwu said, "I don't have that much time to waste with you. No matter who you are, you'll die if you go against me. How dare you talk to me like that? You're the one who's courting death." The Heaven Demon King was furious. He knew that the Heaven's Wrath God wanted to subdue Yan Hanwu, but Yan Hanwu refused. However, the Heaven's Wrath God was only a half-step Tao Lord. His current strength was already in the Tao Lord realm. Moreover, he was confident that he could easily kill the Heaven's Wrath God. Yan Hanwu was not his opponent at all. Moreover, he was not in his peak state now. He had just possessed the Heaven's Wrath God. As long as he was given more time, he would reach the true Tao Lord realm. A true Tao Lord was not someone a half-step Tao Lord could contend against, even if the other party had supreme treasures. The Heaven Demon King rushed towards Yan Hongwu. The disciples of the Heaven's Wrath Palace were all pleasantly surprised. They did not expect the Heaven's Wrath Mountain to still have such ability when it was about to be killed. This was naturally good for them. They still had a chance. Only if the Heaven's Wrath Mountain or the current Heaven Demon King could kill Yan Hongwu or even force Yan Hongwu to retreat, then they would have a chance to live. Humph, Yan Hongwu snorted. His entire body was suffused with golden light. He struck out with a finger. This was the god's Jingshan finger. A terrifying power burst out from this finger and instantly enveloped the entire world. It was as if it was the finger of an immortal ancient god that came from the world. It could easily kill gods and demons, especially those who were filled with demonic qi. This wherever the finger went, the demonic qi could not resist at all and was instantly dispersed. This made the Heaven Demon King feel very aggrieved. He was an expert of the Tao Lord realm. This guy was just an Emperor realm expert. However, this technique and that finger were the nemesis of his power. At this time, the entire space was filled with terrifying flames. These flames were the Red Lotus karmic fire. The karmic fire had a great restraining effect on the Heaven Demon King. What was even more terrifying was that the formation of this space had also erupted and sealed the space, making the Heaven Demon King's consciousness unable to escape. He realized that Yan Hongwu wanted to kill him completely and not give him a chance to escape. However, even at this time, the Heaven Demon King did not give up. He knew that he still had a chance. After all, Yan Hongwu's strength was still weak. Moreover, he had consumed a lot of energy before. He still had a trump card, which was to devour everyone here. After devouring their flesh and blood, he could recover his strength and even return to his peak. "You little bastard, you can't kill me?" The Heaven Demon King shouted loudly. His entire body became incomparably tall, turning into an ancient heaven demon. He looked exactly like the Heaven Demon King, but his entire body was black and filled with endless demonic qi. A terrifying devouring power erupted from his body. He wanted to devour the flesh and blood of the disciples of the Heaven Scourge Palace to recover and improve himself. At this moment, a disciple of the Heaven Scourge Palace beside him was directly grabbed and devoured by him. This scene left the disciples of the Lunar Scourge Palace horrified to the extreme. Of course, this included the people of Black Fiend Town. They all looked at the Heaven Demon King in horror, afraid that they would be caught and devoured like that. Chapter 2009. Can't kill? Looking at how arrogant the Heaven Demon King was, Yan Hongwu smiled in disdain. In this world, there is no demon that I can't kill. As long as I have enough strength, I can kill them all. As he spoke, Yan Hongwu waved his hand, and a small tree appeared in the formation. This small tree had green leaves and branches. After it appeared, its roots instantly pierced into the ground and crazily devoured the Heaven Demon King's power. After discovering this scene, the Heaven Demon King's eyes widened. He was extremely shocked. He could feel his power flowing away crazily. Moreover, he couldn't stop it. The existence of this small tree made him unable to resist at all. "What tree is this?" the Heaven Demon King shouted. "An existence that can kill you." Yan Hongwu didn't explain. This sapling was the Fortune Divine Tree. This was only a sapling, and it hadn't given birth to a true consciousness. However, in Yan Hongwu's common people's great world, it had already been growing for a long time. It had been nurtured for a long time. The reason why Yan Hongwu had released the Divine Tree of Fortune this time was because when the Heavenly Demon King had appeared, Yan Hongwu had sensed that the Divine Tree of Fortune had released a consciousness of longing. Yan Hongwu released it and merged it into one with the formation. With this Fortune Divine Tree as the core of the formation, he let the Fortune Divine Tree crazily devour the Heaven Demon King's power. In this way, not only could it easily help him deal with the Heaven Demon King, but it could also allow the Fortune Divine Tree to improve. Why wouldn't he do such a good thing? At this moment, the Heaven Demon King was crazily devoured by the fortune divine tree. He couldn't care about others, and he didn't even have the strength to devour others. He could only passively resist the terrifying devouring power of the fortune divine tree, but it was still futile. Yang Hanwu didn't expect the scene. He didn't know that the fortune divine tree could restrain the Heaven Demon King. It was too shocking. One must know that the fortune divine tree was only a sapling now. According to the strength of the fortune divine tree, in fact, it hadn't even reached the Emperor realm. One could imagine how big the gap was. If the divine tree of creation was really upgraded, wouldn't it be able to restrain all of the devil race? Yang Hanwu was overjoyed. If he had known earlier, he would have nurtured the fortune divine tree. The fortune divine tree could provide him with the power of fortune to improve his cultivation. He hadn't even reached the hegemonic level yet. Once he did, he would be able to truly control the power of creation. Those who could truly control the power of creation were definitely at the Tao Lord level. As for ruler-level experts, the so-called power of creation they controlled was not complete. It was a level lower than the true power of creation. I admit defeat. I'm willing to submit to you. Make that tree stop. At this time, Heaven Devil King truly realized that he could not defeat Yang Hanwu. He knew that if this continued, he would truly die. This was something he absolutely did not want. Moreover, as Heaven Devil King's inner demon, he was crafty and cunning. He was willing to pay any price to survive. As a devil race, especially a mental demon race, they had no bottom line. This so-called Heaven Devil King was one of them. Since he could become Heaven Devil King's inner demon, he naturally had his merits. There was no doubt about his strength. If he could be allowed to grow, he would become very terrifying and powerful. Unfortunately, before he could fully mature, he was restrained by the Heavenly Demon King, so he couldn't grow unbridled. What he didn't expect was that the Heavenly Demon King would be so ruthless as to directly separate him from his body and seal him in a box. In fact, the Heavenly Demon King's actions would cause great damage to his strength. However, in the long run, it would be of great benefit to the Heavenly Demon King's strength and allow him to break through. There was a possibility of him becoming a Tao Lord. If Heaven Devil King didn't pay the price and separated him, he would be a great threat to Heaven Devil King once he grew to a certain extent. Moreover, Heaven Devil King wouldn't be able to break through. He had to admit that Heaven Devil King did have the potential to become an unparalleled expert. However, Heaven Devil King wasn't willing to accept such a failure. Therefore, although he was sealed, he was still looking for an opportunity. He even wanted to return to Heaven Devil King's body. There weren't many people who could kill him. Only experts at GG's level could do it. Heaven Devil King definitely couldn't do it himself. If that wasn't the case, Heaven Devil King wouldn't have sealed him in a box and sent him to sky-reaching continent. Let you go? Yang Hanwu said coldly. Impossible. You've wasted too much of my time. Moreover, the power in your body is of great help to my divine tree of creation. It's impossible for me to let you go. If you let me go, I can help you find the Sky Demon Dao Sword of the Sky Demon tribe. The Sky Demon Dao Sword is a supreme treasure with boundless power. If you can obtain it, your strength will increase greatly. You can also obtain the legacy of the Sky Demon Emperor. The inheritance of the Heavenly Demon Emperor is something that even the Heavenly Demon King wants. He is an expert on the same level as Jigo. Don't you want his inheritance? Heavenly Demon King said loudly. He appeared to be fawning and begging for mercy, but in fact, he hated Yang Hanwu to the bone. Once he found an opportunity, he would counterattack. However, after being restricted by the divine tree of creation, he wouldn't dare to attack Yang Hanwu rashly. He would only attack Yang Hanwu when he had absolute confidence in his chances. He was greedy for life and afraid of death. As long as you let me go, I can use the Celestial Demon King's memories to help you obtain the Celestial Demon Dao Sword. I said it's impossible. Besides, the Celestial Demon Dao Sword isn't that easy to obtain. Yang Hanwu snorted. He had to admit that Yang Hanwu also wanted the Heavenly Devil Dao sword. This Heavenly Devil Dao sword was even more powerful than the one in Heaven's Wrath Godslayer's hands. Even though the Heavenly Devil Dao sword was in a sealed state, it was still very powerful. Even if I obtain the Heavenly Devil Dao sword, I won't be able to refine it unless I kill Heaven Devil King. Do you think I don't know that? Yang Hanwu sneered. Chapter 2010. In truth, Yang Hanwu didn't know if he could refine the Sky Demon Dao sword. After all, he had never tried it before. The Sky Demon Dao sword contained the true spirit of the Sky Demon Emperor. Whether he could destroy the true spirit of the Sky Demon Emperor was up to Yang Hanwu. He wasn't confident. If he could destroy the true spirit of the Sky Demon Emperor, then he could refine the Sky Demon Dao sword. If he couldn't, then he couldn't refine it. After all, the Sky Demon Emperor was an apex expert. Although he was sealed, his strength was on the same level as Ji Go. He wasn't someone Yi Futian could fight against. Even a trace of his true spirit was terrifying. You can die now, Yang Hanwu said coldly. Wait, I still have something that I can exchange, the Heaven Demon King shouted once again. What is it? Speak. Yang Hanwu said. I don't have time to waste with you. Show me your greatest sincerity. If I'm satisfied, I'll let you go. Of course. The Sky Demon King breathed a sigh of relief. Sir, can you stop this tree first? Otherwise, I won't be able to hold on. You don't have the right to negotiate with me. If you don't speak, then die. Seeing him like this, Yang Hanwu couldn't help but look at him coldly. If the Heaven Demon King still wanted to say something at this moment, Yang Hanwu wouldn't hesitate at all. He would kill him with his bare hands. Seeing Yang Hanwu like this, the Sky Demon King took a deep breath. He didn't dare to be long-winded anymore. He said, I know of a treasury of the Sky Demon Emperor. There are countless treasures in his treasury. Although they can't compare to the Sky Demon Dao sword, they're still very shocking. The treasury of the Sky Demon Emperor? Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes when he heard this. He had to admit that the treasury of such a peerless expert was very attractive. However, to Yang Hanwu, it was not that attractive. If he could not obtain it in a short period of time, if he couldn't get it in a short time, Yang Hanwu wouldn't care about it. This was because once he used the planar boat to leave the Divine Hall of Self-Defense in the realm of Ingress, he probably wouldn't be able to use the planar boat again. This was the most crucial point. If he could return after leaving, it would be more like it. However, if he was in another plane, he wouldn't be able to enter that world without a seat. Where is it? This? Yang Hanwu asked, is it in the realm of Tongtian, or in another plane? In a small plane, Heavenly Demon King said. Small plane? If it was a small plane, how could a Heavenly Demon Monarch not be able to find it? How could it be my turn? Yang Hanwu snorted coldly. Do you think I'm a fool? It seems like there's no need for you to continue living. No, wait, I haven't finished speaking. Young master, don't be in such a hurry. Seeing Yang Hanwu erupting with terrifying killing intent, Heaven Devil King hurriedly stopped Yang Hanwu. He was afraid that Yang Hanwu would directly attack him and beat him to death. What else do you have to say? At this moment, Yang Hanwu was completely in control of his life and death. If there was a chance, Yang Hanwu still hoped to obtain the Heavenly Demon Monarch's treasure trove. After all, it was the treasure trove of an expert comparable to self-defense. One could imagine the richness of the treasure trove. If he could obtain the countless resources, his cultivation would definitely be greatly improved, and his woman would also be able to obtain the greatest benefits. His life would also be astonishingly expanded. In this way, his strength would definitely be improved to an incredible level. In this way, he wouldn't be too passive when facing a Dao Lord expert. However, Yang Hanwu knew very well that if it was so easy to obtain the Heavenly Demon Monarch's treasure trove, the Heavenly Demon Monarch would have taken it out long ago. Why would he wait until now? Therefore, there must be something wrong with this. Young master, although the treasure trove is in a small world, experts can't enter it. That world can only accommodate experts in the Emperor realm. If experts above the Emperor realm enter, they will be suppressed by the laws. Even Tao lords will be suppressed. However, if one's cultivation is only at the Emperor realm, it will be difficult to break through the defense of the treasure trove. He may encounter various mechanisms and formations in the treasure trove and die in there. The heavenly demon monarch has tried countless times, but every time he has failed. The heavenly demon king paused for a moment before continuing, "Young master, you're different. You're only at the imperial emperor realm, but your combat strength is extremely terrifying. You're comparable to an expert at the Tao Lord realm. I think that if you enter that world, the mechanisms and formations in that treasury shouldn't pose any difficulty to you. That's why I dare to do this. That's why I dared to make such a request in exchange for my life." "Is that so?" Yang Hanwu said. "How can I be sure that what you said is true? If I'm not wrong, you should belong to the inner demon clan. You're the incarnation of the heavenly demon monarch's inner demon, right? You inner demons are extremely cunning. How many words do you have to say? You can't believe a single word you say." Heaven Devil King smiled bitterly. "Young master, I'm no longer in control of my life and death. If you want to kill me, you can do it easily. How can I dare to deceive you? If you don't believe me, I can sign a contract with you and become your servant," Heaven Devil King said. He said casually. Yang Hanwu smiled. This guy had a good idea. In fact, although he couldn't fully believe what Heaven Devil King said, half of it should be true. As for signing a contract with Heaven Devil King and controlling his life and death, this was not true. However, he couldn't believe it completely. This guy was from the Heavenly Demon tribe, and he was also from the Inner Demon tribe. He was very special. Ordinary people who signed a contract with him and planted a slave seal in him might not be able to control him. Yi Xuan's soul level and life level were much higher than his. Now, Yang Hanwu cultivated a special secret method. Once a slave seal was planted or a contract was signed, it was absolutely difficult to remove. Even an expert like Shiga might not be able to remove it. Therefore, Yang Hanwu was not worried. However, Yang Hanwu was thinking about the problem now. He needed time. He didn't have that much time to go to that small world to obtain the heavenly demon monarch's treasure trove. As for Heaven Devil King, if he didn't kill him, he would be a big problem. Annoying. Chapter 2011. This crystal contained the information about the Heavenly Demon Emperor's treasure house that the Heavenly Demon King knew. He didn't want Yang Hanwu to read the memory directly, so he took the initiative to condense a memory crystal. This method was very special, but if it wasn't, under such circumstances, ordinary people wouldn't try it. Yang Hanwu took the memory crystal, but he didn't read it directly. Instead, with a thought, he condensed a divine sense to explore this memory crystal. Although Yang Hanwu wasn't afraid of the Heavenly Demon King's scheme, there was no harm in being careful. Sure enough, when Yang Hanwu's divine sense approached, Yang Hanwu opened his Dharma Eye of Annihilation and saw a shadow in this memory crystal. This shadow was the Heavenly Demon King's scheme. Yang Hanwu snorted coldly. This guy was really unwilling to give up and still wanted to attack him. This guy wanted to directly control him when he digested this memory crystal. This idea was good, but it was also impossible. Heavenly Demon King, it seems that you really don't give up. Yang Hanwu snorted softly, and killing intent burst out from his eyes. In that case, you can go to hell. After that, Yang Hanwu waved his hand, and the divine tree of creation burst out with an even stronger devouring power, crazily devouring the power of the Heavenly Demon King. The Heavenly Demon King turned pale with fright. He didn't expect that Yang Hanwu could see through the wisp of demon chi hidden in the memory crystal so easily. This wisp of demon chi could be said to be one of his greatest trump cards. Even a late-stage Tao Lord might not be able to see through it. Only an expert at Jiga's level would be able to see through it. However, Yang Hanwu saw through it. Moreover, he directly used a killing move on him. This time, Yang Hanwu wanted to kill him directly. However, there was nothing he could do. He couldn't resist. At this moment, he simply didn't have the strength to resist. Wait, if you kill me, you won't be able to obtain the Heavenly Demon Emperor's treasury. My memory is wrong. If you kill me, you will lose the chance to obtain the treasury forever. Moreover, you will be targeted by the Heavenly Demon King. I know that you are strong, but the Heavenly Demon King has reached a very powerful level. Although he hasn't reached the Heavenly Demon Emperor's level, he isn't far from it. If you don't kill me, you can use me to restrict heaven. Demon Monarch, I'm the manifestation of Sky Demon Monarch's mental demons. As long as I'm alive, Sky Demon Monarch will be greatly restricted. You can use me to deal with Sky Demon Monarch. I can even help you control the Sky Demon race, shouted Sky Demon King loudly. He didn't want to die, so he racked his brains to stop Yang Hanwu from killing him. But now, how could Yang Hanwu let him stay? After scheming again and again, how could Yang Hanwu let him get away with it? Such a guy was like a ticking time bomb. Therefore, no matter what, Yang Hanwu wouldn't leave behind any future troubles. He would indeed leave the Tongtian continent. However, his son Yang Hanwu wouldn't. Before leaving, Yang Hanwu would try his best to create a safe environment for his son. Yang Hanwu couldn't let go of an unstable factor like Sky Demon King. Therefore, Yang Hanwu had never thought of leaving Sky Demon King in the Tongtian continent. At the very least, he would seal him. Sky Demon race? Yang Hanwu said. I don't care. A mental demon like you is incomparably cunning and untrustworthy. Therefore, I won't let you stay today. With that, Yang Hanwu took out the devouring furnace. Most of Sky Demon King's power had already been devoured by the Fortune Sacred Tree. Now, Yang Hanwu took out the devouring furnace to give Sky Demon King a fatal blow. Damn it. When he saw Yang Hanwu take out this terrifying furnace, he knew that Yang Hanwu really wanted to kill him this time. Sky Demon King's power was almost completely devoured by the Fortune Sacred Tree. The appearance of this furnace made him feel threatened. If the Fortune Sacred Tree could devour his power, it wouldn't be able to destroy his demonic Tao origin. As long as the demonic Tao origin wasn't destroyed, he could make a comeback. It could be said that as long as the demonic Tao origin wasn't destroyed, he was immortal. Even if only a wisp of the demonic Tao origin was left, he could still make a comeback. This was the terrifying part of the mental demon race. This was also the reason why Sky Demon King couldn't kill him even though he was the mental demon of Sky Demon King. It wasn't that the Heavenly Demon King didn't want to kill him, but that he couldn't do it himself. If he forcefully killed him, both sides would suffer losses. The Heavenly Demon King might even die. As the mental demon of the Heavenly Demon King, Heavenly Demon King had yet to die. Sky Demon King would definitely die. Furthermore, the stronger Sky Demon King became, the more powerful his mental demon would become. Because of this, Sky Demon King had no choice but to pay a huge price to separate the Sky Demon King from his body. Although this would cause considerable damage to Sky Demon King's origin source in a short period of time, it would be beneficial in the long run. If the mental demon that was separated could be accidentally killed by someone, it would be equivalent to using external forces to obliterate the mental demon. Once the mental demon was completely destroyed, Sky Demon King's strength would have a huge breakthrough. Unfortunately, the Heavenly Demon Monarch had always been very disappointed. After the Heavenly Demon Monarch had been separated and sent to the Zhiga Divine Hall, the Zhiga Divine Hall had not been able to eliminate the Heart Demon Monarch, which had made the Heavenly Demon Monarch very upset. However, this was also within his expectations. If Zhiga couldn't even see through this, he wouldn't have been able to become a powerhouse of that level. Sky Demon King had actually killed two birds with one stone by sending his mental demon Sky Demon King into Sky-reaching land. On the one hand, he could use Sky Demon King to stir up trouble in Sky-reaching land. On the other hand, he could solve a problem for himself. On the other hand, he could let people search for the Sky Demon Tao sword in the chaos. If someone killed Sky Demon King, it would be even better. If he could completely eliminate his mental demon, it would be equivalent to him surviving the mental demon tribulation. His cultivation would increase by a huge level. He would break through his bottleneck. You can't kill me. If you kill me, Sky Demon King will break through his bottleneck and reach the Sky Demon Emperor realm. Furthermore, your aura will be locked onto by Sky Demon King and become the key to Sky Demon King's perfected cultivation. You will become the person Sky Demon King must kill. Sky Demon King shouted loudly. Yang Hongwu smiled when he heard this. In fact, he knew very well that what Sky Demon King said was true. If he killed Sky Demon King, it would be equivalent to obliterating the mental demon for Sky Demon King and allowing Sky Demon King's cultivation to improve. Chapter 2012. On the Celestial Demon Continent. In the Celestial Demon Palace, the Celestial Demon Monarch suddenly opened his eyes. I didn't expect that someone would really help me deal with that inner demon. It wasn't Zhiga who did it. The Celestial Demon Monarch was overjoyed. This was the best news for him. If Zhiga did it, it would be too difficult for him to reach perfection. In fact, it was almost impossible for anyone to kill his inner demon except for experts at Zhiga's level. However, such a freak had appeared. His cultivation was far inferior to Zhiga's, but he had managed to kill his inner demon. How could he not be happy? Only when his cultivation broke through, he would be able to find that person and kill him. Then, he would be able to reach perfection and even break through to a higher realm than Tao Lord. This was what he wanted the most. Therefore, the most important thing for him now was to break through his current bottleneck. Once he was done, he would find that person and kill him to reach perfection. Clang! However, that person was able to destroy his inner demon. His strength was definitely not simple. He was definitely someone with great luck and strength. Even if his realm was not high enough, it would be very difficult to kill him. He had to break through the bottleneck in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, if the time was too long and the other party was allowed to grow, he might not be able to kill him. If the situation did not allow it, the Celestial Demon Monarch would have wanted to find Yang Hanwu and kill him directly. While at this moment, Yang Hanwu also felt a unique aura locking onto him. This aura was the Celestial Demon Monarch's aura. This was a secret technique. It was a secret technique. In fact, it was very similar to the curse mark that Tian Sha had left on his body. For example, now that the Celestial Demon Monarch had been killed by him, someone had left such an aura behind. This was the Celestial Demon Monarch's method. The Celestial Demon Monarch is really not simple. Unfortunately, how can it be so easy to lock onto my aura and location? Yang Hongwu chuckled. With a thought, majestic dermic powers erupted. Powerful mental strength was about to obliterate that aura. Just the moment that aura was obliterated, a voice came from the distant void. Kid, I've memorized your aura. The voice came from the Celestial Demon Monarch of the Celestial Demon Continent. Yang Hanwu was shocked. This guy was so powerful that he could tear through the void and transmit his voice. His strength was extremely powerful. He was probably already at the Tao Lord level. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to tear through the void and transmit his voice into the Divine Palace. After all, this was Divine Palace's great world, was. Divine Demon was. Could. Was. Celestial Demons' was. It was. Was with it, he. With. It. Was. Was. SSS, after seeing Yang Hanwu kill the Heavenly Devil King, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue were overjoyed. It's nothing. Yang Hanwu smiled faintly. At this moment, although his cultivation did not experience a huge increase, he had gained a lot. Of course, the one who benefited the most was the Divine Tree of Fortune. The Divine Tree of Fortune had more than doubled in strength compared to before. It was evident that the Sacred Tree of Creation had benefited tremendously. Furthermore, the speed at which the sacred tree of creation breathed in the creation aura had increased. It devoured energy from the void and continuously converted it into creation aura. This speed was 10 times faster than before. Yang Hanwu could continuously borrow the fortune chi to refine God transformation pellets. In fact, if the fortune divine tree could grow a little more, his strength could reach the sovereign realm. No, he didn't even need to reach the sovereign realm. As long as he reached the half-step sovereign realm, it would be enough for him to refine Tao transformation pellets. The creation Tao pill was the real precious pill. Even Tao Lord experts wanted to get their hands on this pill. It was of great help to their cultivation base. For those experts who were only at the sovereign realm, they needed it even more. If they could get their hands on the creation Tao pill, it would be easier for them to break through to the Tao Lord realm. Source an endless supply of fortune sacred pills was even more attractive than Tao Lord pills. To Yang Hanwu, it was equivalent to having an endless supply of treasures. However, to Yang Hanwu, the fortune chi wasn't enough for his cultivation. At this rate, even if Yang Hanwu devoured all the creation chi to raise his cultivation, it would be impossible for him to reach the sovereign realm within 100 years. This showed how much spiritual chi Yang Hanwu needed to raise his cultivation to the next level. That was quite terrifying. It could be said that the amount of spiritual energy he needed to cultivate was countless times more than that of ordinary sovereign realm experts. It could even be compared to experts of the Tao Lord realm. This was the most terrifying thing. What was the difference between a sovereign realm expert and a sovereign realm expert? A Tao Lord expert could easily kill dozens or even hundreds of peak sovereign realm experts. It could be said that those below the Tao Lord realm were ants that could be killed with a flick of the finger. This was the difference between an ant and an elephant. Think about it, how many ants could an elephant kill with a stomp? This was the difference. However, Yang Hongwu's spirit chi throughput was comparable to a Tao Lord's. It was enough to show how terrifying the spirit chi Yang Hanwu needed to cultivate was. Ordinary cultivation sacred grounds couldn't support the huge amount of spirit chi Yang Hanwu needed. If it wasn't for the fortune sacred tree, Yang Hanwu couldn't imagine how difficult it would be for him to improve his cultivation level. In fact, Yang Hongwu's improvement in cultivation level was like plundering. Along the way, he didn't have much time to cultivate. Most of the time, he directly killed his enemies and seized their vast resources to improve his cultivation level. Even so, Yang Hanwu felt that his cultivation speed was too slow and couldn't support it at all. Hanwu had a premonition that his archenemy, Zetian's strength, would probably increase to a very terrifying level. He wouldn't be weaker than him and might even be stronger. This was what Yang Hanwu was worried about. He couldn't wait to reach the Tao Lord realm. Chapter 2013. Young Master, what should we do with the remaining people? Tai Tulong asked. Yang Hongwu looked at these people and squinted his eyes. Tai Tulong's plan was pretty good. Young Master, please spare us. We're willing to submit. The disciples of the Scourge Palace shouted. How could they care about anything else at this point? Palace the Lord was gone, and now even the Palace Lord's father was gone. Who would guard the Scourge Palace? Moreover, their lives were at stake. No one wanted to lose their life, especially at this time. Everyone was afraid of death. No one was not afraid of death. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath and looked at Shanhai Guanyue and Tai Tulong. In fact, both of them had their own thoughts at this moment. Yang Hanwu was very clear about this. Both of them wanted to integrate the forces of the Scourge Palace in Black Evil Town. After all, this was a huge force. Moreover, the key point was that the treasures of Black Evil Town and the Scourge Palace were a huge fortune. This fortune was quite terrifying. If they could obtain it, it would allow Iron Mountain City and Shanghai City to develop to an unimaginable level. Good. Tai Tulong, Shanhai Guanyue, you two will be in charge of the Scourge Palace in Black Evil Town. Yang Hanwu said to the two. Tai Tulong, you'll be in charge of Black Evil Town. Shanhai Guanyue, you'll be in charge of the Scourge Palace. Yes, young master. Shanhai Guanyue nodded happily. Tai Tulong, on the other hand, was a little unhappy. Compared to the Scourge Palace, Black Evil Town was still a level lower. Moreover, Black Evil Town had been plundered. Its resources were much less than the Scourge Palace. Moreover, the forces of Black Evil Town had been wiped out. As a result, Black Evil Town's strength was far inferior to the Scourge Palace. Tai Tulong had great ambitions. Naturally, he was unwilling. Young noble, I'm afraid Mountain Sea Guanyue alone isn't enough to control the Lunar Wrath Palace. Even though you killed the mountain and the Lunar Wrath God, there are still a few old antiques in the palace. Mountain Sea Guanyue alone isn't enough. Young noble, Tai Tulong is right. You may have killed the palace lord of Scourge Palace, Scourge God, and Scourge Mountain. However, there are many experts in the palace. I'm not strong enough to handle this alone. I need young noble's help. Initially, Shanhai Guanyue was very excited. However, he quickly regained his senses after hearing Tai Tulong's words. This matter wasn't as simple as it seemed. There were definitely late-stage sovereigns in the Heavenly Scourge Palace. If he went alone, he might even lose his life, let alone control the Heavenly Scourge Palace. Even if the Heavenly Scourge Palace didn't have experts of that level, the Great Mountain Guardian formation and all kinds of defensive trump cards were extremely terrifying. In the Heavenly Span continent, any major force would leave behind a powerful trump card to protect their headquarters. Otherwise, if the master was not at home, wouldn't their headquarters be destroyed by others? Such a situation was simply impossible. Therefore, most experts would leave behind a powerful trump card in their own forces. After all, that was where their foundation lay. Just like that. Just like her Shanhai City, after she left, Shanhai City also had a powerful force that could withstand external attacks. If experts of the same level as her were to attack, they might not be able to gain an advantage. This was the case for the Lunar Wrath Palace. Even though the Lunar Wrath God had left the Lunar Wrath Palace, it was impossible for outsiders to attack the Heavenly Scourge Palace without the strength of a half-stepped Tao Lord. I don't have that much time. Yang Hongwu shook his head. If young noble doesn't make the decision, I don't have enough confidence. However, Tai Tulong seems very confident. Why don't you leave this matter to him? I think he should be able to complete the task. Mountain Sea Guanyue said. Yang Hongwu was a little surprised. However, he could see that it wasn't that Mountain Sea Guanyue didn't want to occupy the resources of the Lunar Wrath Palace. She knew her own limits. Even without the Lunar Wrath God and the Lunar Wrath Mountain, the Lunar Wrath Palace was still a powerful force. As the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. The Lunar Wrath Palace was still the Lunar Wrath Palace. Even without the Palace Lord, the Lunar Wrath Palace's strength was still terrifying. Although Mountain Sea Guanyue's cultivation had recovered, it was still not enough. If she were to go, she might not even be able to break through the mountain gate. Thus she gave up such a tempting opportunity and gave it to Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong was a shrewd old man. Now that Mountain Sea Guanyue had given up, he naturally didn't dare to accept it. He knew how powerful the Lunar Wrath Palace was. There was no way he could take it down alone. Tai Tulong, you go to the Lunar Wrath Palace. Yan Hanwu said. Young noble, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for me to complete it alone. Tai Tulong said. If I were to join forces with Mountain Sea Guanyue, I might have a chance. However, I'm afraid I won't be able to complete the task alone. In that case, the two of you will go together. Yan Hanwu said. All right, you two get to work immediately. Don't let anything unexpected happen. After that, Yang Hongwu's figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. Mountain Sea Guanyue and Tai Tulong exchanged glances. They hadn't expected Yang Hongwu to leave just like that. They'd lost contact with Yang Hongwu. By now, Yang Hongwu had already used the Void Transmission Mystic Art to arrive at Iron Mountain City. Back then, Iron Mountain City was under Tai Xiaoyao's management. Yang Tianjun was still in seclusion. Yang Hongwu sensed his aura. Yang Tianjun had already completed the chaotic star body. No, he was still in the process of consolidating his cultivation. Yang Hanwu was very satisfied with his son. Yang Tianjuan's cultivation was definitely among the best of the younger generation. He was even stronger than his own father. Of course, in terms of combat strength, Yang Tianjun was still far from his father's. After all, he had many trump cards. Only however, Yang Hanwu still had mixed feelings about being overshadowed by his son, Yang Tianjun. He felt both happy and depressed at the same time. He was happy because he had a very outstanding son. Moreover, it could be said that the student had surpassed the master. He was depressed because his son was too outstanding. His cultivation level had surpassed his father's. Naturally, it was quite embarrassing for him to be surpassed by his son in cultivation level. Chapter 2014. No need, I can go in by myself. Yang Hanwu shook his head and walked towards the cultivation room. This cultivation room was specially set up by Yang Hanwu. Unless the person in the cultivation room opened the door, no one would be able to disturb the person cultivating. Of course, Yang Hanwu was an exception. After all, he was the one who set up the formation. Of course, it was easy to enter. Yang Hanwu entered the cultivation room. At this moment, Yang Tianjun was trembling all over. Yang Hanwu's expression changed slightly. He was at a critical moment in his cultivation. It seemed that the yuan qi of heaven and earth was insufficient. The spiritual qi in the surroundings had been sucked dry. It was not enough to support his cultivation. Yang Hanwu frowned and was very worried. He scolded in his heart. This kid is too careless. He did not prepare enough for his cultivation. If he did not come in by himself, he would have suffered a backlash. Yang Hanwu reached out and placed his hand on Yang Tianjuan's back. The majestic creation energy entered his body and replenished the huge amount of spiritual qi that he had consumed. Creation under Yang Hanwu's control, the creation energy turned into stellar energy. This was very beneficial to Yang Tianjuan's stellar body. After a while, Yang Tianjun stopped cultivating and opened his eyes. Thank you, father. He looked at Yang Hanwu. He was a little surprised, but also very happy. At this moment, he realized how powerful his father was. He knew very well that if it was not for the energy that Yang Hanwu transferred to him, he would definitely have suffered a backlash. Tianjun, you are too careless. If I did not come back just in time, you would have been injured. Yang Hanwu patted his shoulder and said, remember, when you cultivate in seclusion in the future, you must be fully prepared. If you make a mistake during your cultivation, you will lose more than you gain. Father, I won't do it again, Yang Tianjun said hurriedly. I hope you will remember, Yang Hanwu said. Father, have you found the planar boat? Yang Tianjun asked again. I found it. This time, I came to Iron Mountain City to ask you, are you willing to leave the self-defense divine hall with me and your mother? Yang Hanwu looked at him. Even though he knew that the chances of Tianjun Yang leaving with him and Pan and I were very slim, he still wanted to try. After all, this was his son, his only son. It would be good if he could stay by his side. Yang Tianjun shook his head and said, Father, I've said it before. I've grown up and I need to make my own way. If I wasn't worried about mother, I would have started cultivating on my own. Now that mother has father to take care of her, I don't need to worry anymore. Yang Hanwu sighed inwardly at Yang Tianjuan's words. Even though he had expected this, he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Since you've already made up your mind, I won't force you. The Skyspan continent isn't as simple as you think. It's full of dangers. The strongest people here aren't just half-step Dao Lords, but true Dao Lords. Yang Hanwu looked at him and said, moreover, the Skyspan continent won't be peaceful for long. You have to be mentally prepared. Dao Lords? Yang Tianjuan's eyes lit up and he looked at Yang Hanwu. Father, is what you said true? Do Dao Lords really exist in the Skyspan continent? Yang Hanwu couldn't help but smile bitterly at Yang Tianjuan's excited expression. This kid. He had never seen a true Tao Lord before, so he didn't know how terrifying a true Tao Lord was. Yes, there are Tao Lords. However, Tao Lords are terrifying. They aren't people you can afford to offend. Even I, your father, am far from being a match for them. In front of Tao Lords, hegemons and even half-step Tao Lords are nothing more than ants. Yang Hanwu explained, there are two true Tao Lords in the Skyspan continent. One is the guardian of the Skyspan continent, the disciple of Zhiga, Tao Lord Crazed Battle. He's extremely powerful and stands at the peak of this world. Of course, if you can gain his recognition, it'll be a great opportunity for you. If I have the chance, I must meet him. Yang Tianjun was pleasantly surprised and continued, Father, where is Tao Lord Berserker now? Have you seen him? Yang Hanwu nodded. Yes, but Tao Lord Crazed Battle is extremely powerful and elusive. It's almost impossible to find him unless he's willing to come out. Yang Hanwu was telling the truth. If Tao Lord Crazed Battle hadn't been willing to meet him, they wouldn't have been able to find him no matter how hard they searched. They wouldn't have been able to enter his spatial world. Yang Hanwu knew this very well. I see. Yang Tianjun was slightly disappointed. Then, Father, who's the other Tao Lord? Where is he? That fellow is extremely strong as well. Compared to Tao Lord Battlecry, he's definitely stronger. However, he hates your father to the core. If you meet him, you absolutely must not mention our relationship. Yang Hanwu was worried when he thought of this. He could foresee that if anything happened in the Skyspan continent, it would have something to do with Tianjia. He was the most unstable factor in the Skyspan continent. Who's that Tao Lord? Why would you make an enemy of him? Yang Tianjun paused for a moment before asking. He really didn't expect his father to be so bold as to make an enemy of a Tao Lord. He was an expert of the celestial monster race, the #1 expert beneath the celestial monster emperor. His name was Tao Lord Baleful Heaven. He was incredibly powerful, and the lands of Skyspan existed to seal him away. The reason why I offended him was because I ruined his plans, preventing him from breaking the seal and escaping. Yang Hanwu said, therefore, if you meet Tianjia, you mustn't reveal that you're my son. Your current strength is far from being his match unless you reach the Tao Lord realm. Otherwise, if you meet Tianjia, even if it's just a clone, you have to run as far as you can. Yang Hanwu looked at Yang Tianjun and said in a serious tone. In fact, you're even more stubborn than me. However, such an expert is definitely not someone you can fight. Even though you've made some progress in the chaotic star body, it's still far from enough. In front of a Tao Lord, as long as you haven't broken through to the Tao Lord realm, you're just an ant that can't withstand a single blow. Chapter 2015. Aside from these two Tao Lords, the other half-step Tao Lords are quite powerful as well. If you were to fight against a half-step Tao Lord, you wouldn't be a match for them at all. Yang Hanwu looked at Yang Tianjun and said, you're still too weak. Unless you're in Iron Mountain City and borrow the power of Iron Mountain City, you'll be able to fight against them. Father, I know this very well. I won't easily fight against experts. Yang Tianjun said, moreover, I'm still very young and haven't cultivated for long. If I'm given more time, no one in the Tongtian continent will be a match for me. Yang Tianjun was very confident when he said this. There was no doubt that the Lord of Heaven's talent was strong. Moreover, his divine body had reached the perfected divine body, which made him even stronger. No! This wasn't a good thing. Yang Hanwu looked at him and said, you underestimate the people of the world. In the myriad worlds, experts are as common as clouds and geniuses come forth in large numbers. Many geniuses are beyond your imagination. At your age, there are many people who have reached your level of cultivation. In fact, there are many who are more talented than you. The true strength of a genius doesn't lie in how fast his cultivation improves, but in his foundation, his fighting strength, and his growth potential. The Lord of Heaven was slightly stunned when he heard Yang Hanwu's words. He had never thought of this before. After all, he was still very young and there were many things that he had never thought of or encountered before. In his mind, cultivation speed and talent were the basis of a genius's strength. He hadn't expected Yang Hanwu to say this. In fact, a person's physique and cultivation speed aren't the key to measuring a genius. They only occupy a part of it. You must remember this. A true genius doesn't necessarily have a fast cultivation speed or a weak physique. Without a strong bloodline, it doesn't mean that one can't become a powerful genius. In the myriad worlds, many people with seemingly weak physiques have become true experts. Yang Hanwu paused and said, if your cultivation hasn't reached the Tao Lord realm, you must never go against a Tao Lord expert. Father, I understand. Yang Tianjun nodded. He knew that what Yang Hanwu said was true. It was all for his own good. Yes. Yang Hanwu nodded with satisfaction. It's good that you know. Since you don't want to leave with me, I can't always follow you and take care of you. You have to rely on yourself for many things. I know that my father won't casually leave Iron Mountain City until I become a half-step Tao Lord, Tianjun said. This time, I'm here to explain some things to you. I also want to let your mother meet you because I don't know when we'll meet again. Yang Hanwu said. Yang Hanwu was very clear about this point, because he didn't know if he would be able to come back after leaving the Tongtian continent. This was a huge problem. Father, where are you and mother leaving? Yang Tianjun looked at Yang Hanwu and asked. He knew that after Yang Hanwu and Pan and I left, he really didn't know how long it would be before they could meet again. After all, they were his father and mother, flesh and blood. Soon. We'll leave tomorrow at the latest. Yang Hanwu said, before we leave, I'll gather some forces to help you. They are the Scourge Palace in Black Fiend Town. Tianjun was shocked when he heard this. The Scourge Palace and Black Fiend Town were extremely powerful. They were both peak forces of the Tongtian continent. His father actually said that he wanted to gather the Scourge Palace in Black Fiend Town. How shocking was this? He had never thought that his father would be so powerful. Even if it was luck, it was still very shocking. However, don't be happy too early. Once these two forces are gathered, they'll form a super force. This force isn't something you can control. Moreover, without a half-step Tao Lord expert suppressing it, it might not be a good thing for you. Therefore, you can't control these two forces openly. They can only help you in the dark, Yang Hanwu said. Only then did Yang Tianjun recover from his shock. He nodded and said, Father, I know this. These two forces were really powerful. Just one of them was already terrifying. What's more, when the two forces were gathered together, it was naturally even more terrifying. Want to control these two terrifying forces, it was impossible to do so without great strength. More importantly, the major forces of the outside world would definitely take action. Without a half-step Tao Lord expert suppressing it, it was impossible to resist the attacks of the outside world. This was the most important thing. If it would be a good thing if he was in charge in the dark. At the very least, he wouldn't become the target of public criticism. The tallest tree in the forest would be destroyed by the wind. He understood this principle very well. Father, who are you going to let control Black Fiend Town and the Scourge Palace? Yang Tianjun asked again. After all, there weren't many people in the Tongtian continent that Yang Hanwu trusted enough. Moreover, the other party needed to be strong enough. Tai Tulong? Yang Hanwu didn't quite agree with this. After all, Tai Tulong couldn't be trusted because Yang Hanwu had taken over Arnhill Town and dealt a fatal blow to Tai Tulong. First, once Yang Hanwu left this world, Tai Tulong would probably betray him. And second, moreover, his strength hadn't reached the half-step Tao Lord realm. He might not be able to withstand the attacks of the major forces. First, even if Tai Tulong could, he was only one person. It wasn't enough to control two major forces. Tai Tulong and the city lord of Shanghai City, Shanghai Guanyue, Yang Hanwu said. But father, These two are probably very ambitious, aren't they? If father leaves this world, they definitely won't be so obedient, Yang Tianjun said. I've already considered this point. Yang Hanwu nodded. I'll leave you some methods to restrict them. That's good. Although Yang Tianjun was very confident in his cultivation talent, his current cultivation base was still somewhat weak. He couldn't contend with experts like Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue, even if they hadn't reached the half-step Dao Lord level yet. There's not much time left. Have a chat with your mother. I need to reorganize the planar boat, Yang Hanwu said to Yang Tianjun. Speak. After finishing, Yang Hanwu's mind stirred and sent Pan and I out. Chapter 2016. Yang Hanwu entered the cultivation room and sealed the array formation. The entire cultivation room could be described as an iron bucket. Absolutely no one could enter and disturb him. Here at this moment, he took out the planar boat and prepared to refine the planar boat to recognize him as its master. Position after the fragment of the planar boat was taken out, Yang Hanwu cast the spell into it. In an instant, the planar boat and the last fragment merged together in an instant. However, to Yang Hanwu's surprise, the two fragments seemed to be fighting for control. But yes, how could Yang Hanwu let such a thing happen? The last fragment had given birth to self-awareness, which Yang Hanwu would not allow. In fact, this was also very normal. The two fragments wanted to devour each other and gain sovereignty. In fact, although the last fragment had self-awareness, it did not have the upper hand after all. In addition, there was still Yang Hanwu, so it naturally had an absolute advantage. Yang Hanwu exclaimed. Yang Hanwu frowned. After fusing with the planar boat, he wanted to completely refine it, but he found a clue. In the space of the planar boat, there was a special aura. This special aura was hidden very deeply. If one was not careful, they would not be able to find it. This wisp of aura was very similar to the consciousness from before. It seemed that the consciousness born from the fragment of the planar boat was just to cover up something. You want to scheme against me? Yang Hanwu snorted coldly. It was impossible for this special aura to hide from him. If it was someone else, they might be able to scheme against this aura. However, in the face of Yang Hanwu, it was really a fool's dream. In particular, after refining the planar boat and making it his treasure, nothing on the planar boat could escape his eyes. After all, he had the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. After the power of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation entered the planar boat, nothing on the planar boat could hide. Not to mention a mere wisp of will, even a more terrifying existence could discover it. Even the legendary invisible will could not escape his eyes. This aura seemed strange, but it was very familiar. Tianjia, this was the aura of Tianjia. Tianjia? Yang Hanwu reached out and grabbed the wisp of aura. When he sensed Yang Hanwu's aura, he wanted to escape. However, it was impossible to escape in his own world on the planar boat. You want to leave? Dream on. Yang Hanwu made a grabbing motion with his hand, and that strand of wool was controlled by Yang Hanwu in a small space. Kid, you really surprised me. That wisp of wool was a wisp of the primordial spirit of the heaven demon. Now that it was sealed in a small space and knew that it could not escape, it turned into a human figure and looked at Yang Hanwu. Kid, how about we make a deal? Tianxia took a deep breath and looked at Yang Hanwu. This guy was too strange. However, he had to admit that Yang Hanwu seemed to be blessed by the heavens. His luck was terrifying, almost nobody could compare to him. Back then, Tianxia had thought that if he could rope Yang Hanwu in, he would be able to obtain heaven-defying luck. Maybe he could borrow Yang Hanwu's luck to reverse everything. However, he failed. Therefore, he tried to kill Yang Hanwu and take away his luck, but he found that he also failed. Now, he sealed a wisp of his primordial spirit in the planar boat in order to use Yang Hanwu's luck to leave the Divine Palace and the sky-reaching Divine Palace. Once this strand of primordial spirit could leave the self-defense Divine Palace, then for him, it would be a great benefit. Borrowing this strand of primordial spirit, he would be able to recover his great strength. Once this strand of primordial spirit reached a certain level, it would be able to connect with his original body and break through the seal of the self-defense divine palace. What can you give me? Yang Hanwu asked coldly. That's right. For Yang Hanwu, the item in the Heaven Demon's hand really couldn't be of much help to him. Moreover, the Heaven Demon hated him to the bone. Yang Hanwu didn't believe that the Heaven Demon would be able to let go of the enmity between them. After all, the Heaven Demon had suffered a great loss at his hands. This kind of loss was absolutely unbearable. Your foundation is too strong. It will be very difficult for you to break through. You'll need a lot of resources. The Heaven Demon looked at Yang Hanwu and said, I can give you the resources you need to break through. How about you take this wisp of primordial spirit out of the divine palace? One had to admit that this was very tempting. Yang Hanwu also knew that if he wanted to break through, he would need a terrifying amount of resources. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to bear it. It could be said that if he wanted to break through to the ruler realm, the amount of resources he needed to break through to the Tao Lord realm was much more terrifying than the amount of resources an ordinary person would need to break through to the Tao Lord realm. Your offer is indeed very tempting, but how can I believe it? Moreover, if I want to break through, the amount of resources I need isn't something ordinary people can bear. Even if you're a Tao Lord expert, you might not be able to do it. Moreover, you're just a prisoner of the divine palace. How can you have so many resources? For me, if I want to break through to the sovereign realm, the amount of resources I need is probably much more than what ordinary people need to break through to the Tao Lord realm. This amount of resources is too terrifying. If you had so many resources, how could you have fallen to such a state? Yang Hanwu said loudly, moreover, even if you have enough resources, I might not be able to get them if I take you out. Even if I can take you out, I'll offend berserk war in the divine palace. Do you think it's worth it? It's worth it. Skyfiend said. I know of an ancient treasury which contains the secrets of unparalleled Tao Lords. When I broke through to become a Tao Lord, it was there that I acquired the opportunity to do so. It had to be said that the temptation was very great. If even an expert like the Heaven Demon cared so much about an ancient secret vault, how terrifying would it be? The ancient secret vault? Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. Why should I believe you? Moreover, it's unknown. It's like a flower in the water. It might not be real. Chapter 2017. Yang Hanwu had not expected that Tian Sha would use this to tempt him. He had to admit that this was very tempting. The Fortune Heavenly Gate. That was something that even an expert of Xi Ji's level would go crazy for. It was said that the Fortune Heavenly Gate contained the secrets of the origin of the myriad worlds, the secrets of true immortality and immortality. Cultivation. What was the purpose of refining it? Wasn't it to find the secrets of immortality and indestructibility? No. Although this condition was somewhat attractive to Yang Hanwu, it wasn't very attractive. All of this means nothing to me. Yang Hanwu shook his head. If this is all you want from this deal, then I'm sorry, but you can die now. Tian Sha was stunned. He had not expected that Yang Hanwu would not care about this at all. This left him speechless. What do you want? Heaven Sha took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. He looked at Yang Hanwu and asked. Since even the information of the creation gate could not tempt Yang Hanwu, he really did not know what else could. Lethe was unwilling to give up like this. After all, it had not been easy for him to release this primordial spirit again. If he gave up like this, all his calculations would be useless. If Yang Hanwu could bring this primordial spirit out, it would be his chance to escape. But, the problem now was how to persuade Yang Hanwu to bring him out. This was the most important thing. What do I want? Yang Hanwu smiled and looked at him. Dragon Balls. The Dragon Balls of Peak Tao Lord Dragons. If you have them, I might agree. Dragon Balls of Peak Tao Lord Dragons? When Tian Sha heard this, he was slightly taken aback. He had not expected Yang Hanwu to raise such a condition. However, Tao Lord dragons were extremely rare. Even so, it wasn't as though they didn't exist. However, no one dared to lay their hands on the dragon race, especially Tao Lord dragons. In reality, the dragon clan wasn't as simple as they seemed. The true dragon clan was only stronger than their heavenly Fae clan. Dragons were one of the 3 legendary races of ancient times. They were extremely terrifying. The true strength of dragons was extremely terrifying. If it was exposed, not to mention the heavenly demon race, even 2 heavenly demon races might not be a match for it. Ordinary people might not know, but Tian Sha was the strongest person in the heavenly demon race after the heavenly demon emperor. This kid actually wanted the dragon pearl of a Tao Lord of Dragons? Could it be that this fellow was a member of the Phoenixes, one of the 3 legendary races of the primordial era? It was possible that this kid had terrifying flames on his body. Yes. Once we leave the Forsaken Shrine and the Skyspan continent, I can lead you to a supreme Tao Lord dragon pearl, Skyfiend said. Do you take me for a fool? Yang Hanwu sneered and looked at Tian Sha. Taking you away from the Heavenly Demon Divine Temple is a huge risk. Moreover, Heavenly Demon Divine Temple and Berserker should have already discovered the existence of your primordial spirit. Do you think I can take you away so easily? Tian Sha took a deep breath. The anger in his heart was hard to suppress. You've already sealed this space. This is the space of the planar boat. No matter how strong Heavenly Demon Divine Temple and Berserker are, they won't be able to discover it. Tian Sha looked at Yan Hanwu. Don't you know this? Are you deliberately playing with me? Yes, so what? Yan Hanwu looked at him. The curse seal you left for me cost me a lot. Do you think I'll let you go so easily? You've already removed the curse. Tian Sha was helpless. That curse seal was left by one of his incarnations. He didn't expect that Yan Hanwu could remove it so easily. This was also beyond his expectations. He was very clear about that curse seal. Even an expert like Quang Zhan could only seal it in a short period of time and couldn't remove it. Back then, when Quang Zhan sealed the curse seal, he already felt it. However, he never expected that Yang Hanwu would successfully remove the curse seal not long after, which shocked him. That although one of the runes didn't disappear, it was transferred to a strange beast by Yang Hanwu, which made him quite depressed. I don't want to be with you either. Aluminum? I'm too lazy to forgive you for lying. Scapula? Is it tempting to return home in a fit of anger? Was it made Xiao Cho-chun? Playing the role of an ostrich pretending to be an ostrich? Bang! Wait. Tian Sha hurriedly stopped Yan Hanwu when he saw that he was about to make a move. Although I can't give you what you want now, I can give your son some benefits. This primordial spirit of Tian Sha knew that Yang Tianjun was Yang Hongwu's son. After all, he was a Tao Lord expert. Although it was only a primordial spirit, he could clearly feel that Yang Hongwu's bloodline and Yang Tianjun's bloodline came from the same source. Since he couldn't find a flaw in Yang Hanwu and force him to submit, then he would start from the people around Yang Hanwu. Yang Tianjun was the best choice. Although of course, when a powerhouse's cultivation reached a certain level, they wouldn't care much about family ties. However, he could see that Yang Hanwu was different. He hadn't reached the point where he could forget about his feelings. He hadn't reached the point where he could extinguish his feelings. What are you trying to say? Murderous intent erupted from Yang Hongwu's eyes when he heard this. He hated being threatened the most, and this was exactly what Tian Sha was doing. He was using his son to threaten him. Yang Hanwu had to admit that Tian Sha could really do it if he wanted to. After all, although Tian Sha was sealed in Tongtian continent, he still had many ways to threaten Yang Tianjun. After all, if Tian Sha paid a huge price, he could mobilize all the exotic beasts in Tongtian continent. These exotic beasts with heavenly demon bloodline, and there were many half-step Tao lords among them. First, Yang Hanwu might not be able to resist. Although Yang Hanwu had full confidence in his son, he was still worried. Are you threatening me? Chapter 2018. Yang Hanwu didn't really believe Tiansha's words. Furthermore, this was the inheritance of the heavenly demon emperor. It wasn't something that an ordinary person could obtain. Why would Tiansha give such a benefit to his son, Yang Tianjun? After all, his son, Yang Tianjun, was not a member of the heavenly monster tribe. It's useless no matter what you say. Yang Hanwu snorted and was about to shatter the sky demon's primordial spirit. However, the sky demon's primordial spirit suddenly emitted a beam of light. In an instant, a terrifying huge sword appeared. This Issa giant sword had actually broken through the space of the planar boat and entered here. This is it was the sky demon Dao sword. Yang Hanwu was extremely shocked. The sky demon Dao sword had actually broken through the seal of the black fiend abyss and even tore through the spatial barrier of the planar boat to enter. How could Yang Hanwu not be shocked? This is the power of the sky demon Dao sword was truly unexpected. It lived up to its name as the ultimate treasure of the sky demon race. Here at this moment, the Tiansha's primordial spirit entered the sky demon Dao sword. Terrifying sword chi locked onto Yang Hanwu. Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. The power of the sky demon Dao sword had exceeded his expectations. It was not that he had not fought with the sky demon Dao sword before, but Yang Hanwu had won. Although it was because of Quang Zhan, even if Quang Zhan had not appeared, Yang Hanwu would not be afraid. Previously, Yang Hanwu didn't feel any pressure and could release his power without restraint. However, he couldn't do so now. This was the space of the planar boat. If he were to release his power without restraint, perhaps the planar boat would be destroyed in this battle. In that case, he wouldn't be able to use the power of the planar boat to return to the divine realm. This made Yang Hanwu very angry. The feeling of having his hands and feet tied was very unpleasant. Mourning if he had known this, he should never find the planar boat first. Instead, he should have completely integrated the life seal. However, it was too late to say anything now. The most important thing now was to deal with the sky demon Dao sword and the sky demon's primordial spirit. I'll give you another chance. The sky's voice came from the sky demon Dao sword. If you agree to my conditions, everything can be discussed. But if you don't, then don't blame me for being merciless. Although you are strong and your talent is astonishing, I will make you pay a huge price with the sky demon Dao sword. Hanwu took a deep breath. The feeling of being threatened was really uncomfortable. If it had been in the past, Yang Hanwu wouldn't have been able to tolerate it. Even if he had to pay a huge price and destroy the planar arc, he would have wanted to keep these two fellas here. Moreover, exchanging the planar arc for the celestial demon Dao sword was definitely not a loss. However, the problem now was that the planar arc was something Yang Hanwu had to protect. He couldn't let the planar arc be destroyed. Because of this, the sky demon knew Yang Hanwu and dared to let the sky demon Dao sword into this place. That's impossible. I hate it when people threaten me. Yang Hanwu looked coldly at the sky demon Dao sword. You are just losers. How dare you be so arrogant? Do you think I, Yang Hanwu, am a pushover? Hanwu wasn't willing to be threatened. This wasn't his character. To him, if the planar boat was destroyed, then he would have to pay a huge price to return to the divine realm. Therefore, Yang Hanwu had to think of a way to solve this problem. How to deal with the sky demon Dao sword and the sky demon Dao sword while protecting the planar boat from being destroyed. Hanwu exuded a terrifying aura, as if he could explode at any time. This terrifying aura shocked everyone. However, the Tiansha and the sky demon Dao sword didn't retreat at all, because he had no way out now. If he failed, he wouldn't be able to leave Zhigu Divine Palace or Sky-reaching Divine Palace. This was his only chance. It was a fight to the death. If he didn't succeed, he would die trying. You have to think clearly. Although your strength is very strong, your cultivation level is still very low. If you and I fight, it will be a life and death battle. For you and me, no matter who wins or loses, there won't be any benefits. On the contrary, if you agree to my conditions, not only will you not lose anything, you will also gain great benefits. My emperor's inheritance is something that countless experts want to obtain. The sky demon still wasn't willing to fight Yang Hanwu. He knew that Yang Hongwu's strength and luck were very frightening. He didn't have enough confidence in this fight. Even if he won, there would be no benefits for him. He wouldn't get what he wanted. His goal was to threaten Yang Hanwu and use Yang Hongwu's departure to leave the Zhige Divine Hall. No need to say more. Fight! Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed with terrifying killing intent. This guy kept saying this. There was no way Yang Hanwu would agree. The Sky Demon Emperor's legacy was very important, and he wanted him or his son to get it. It wouldn't be that simple. There was no free lunch in this world. Yang Hanwu knew this clearly. The more the Sky Demon Emperor wanted to do this, the more Yang Hanwu suspected that the Sky Demon Emperor wanted to possess him. He had some confidence that he could stop the Sky Demon Emperor from possessing him. However, his son, Tianjun Yang, had no chance of resisting the Sky Demon Emperor's possession. Even he didn't have full confidence. The Sky Demon Emperor was an existence of that level. The Sky Demon was trying so hard to get him to agree. He was definitely up to something. Therefore, Yang Hanwu would rather fight the Sky Demon to the death than agree to his conditions. Speak. With that, Yang Hanwu turned into a ray of golden light and flew towards the Sky Demon Dao sword. Tiansha did not expect that Yang Hanwu would still want to fight with him. Yang Hanwu was unwilling to agree to his conditions, which made him feel very helpless. Here, seeing Yang Hanwu rush towards him, he had no other choice. Giant! The sword exploded with terrifying sword intent and flew towards Yang Hanwu. Two rays of light clashed together. Then, there was a huge explosion. The entire space seemed to be about to be annihilated. Chapter 2019. Without the fragment of the Common Life Great Seal that Berserker had given him, the Common Life Great Seal might not have been able to suppress this terrifying impact. However, after integrating the fragment with the Common Life Great Seal, the power of the Common Life Great Seal increased by more than half. Because of this, the current Common Life Great Seal was able to suppress this terrifying impact and prevent the space of the planar boat from being destroyed. This is the aura of the Life Great Seal. You actually obtained a near-complete Life Great Seal? At this time, Tiansha's voice rang out. He had not expected Yang Hanwu to have such a trump card. Moreover, this Life Great Seal was extremely powerful. Here with the Life's Great Seal, Yang Hanwu was no weaker than the Sky Demon Dao sword. If the Sky Demon Dao sword had been at its peak, it might not have been afraid of this incomplete Life's Great Seal. Even if it had been a complete Life's Great Seal, it would not have had any advantage over the Sky Demon Dao sword. But the problem now was that although the Life's Great Seal was incomplete, most of the Sky Demon Dao sword's power had been sealed. In addition, Yang Hanwu still had many trump cards. This did not mean that Yang Hanwu did not have any other trump cards. Here was what Tiansha was most worried about. Here at this moment, it was impossible for him to fight to the death even if he wanted to. You win. Tiansha looked at Yang Hanwu and snorted coldly. Since he could not fight, he chose to retreat. Although he was unwilling, there was nothing he could do. Here the Sky Demon Dao sword exploded with terrifying light. A beam of sword chi that could shatter space instantly charged towards the edge of the Life Great Seal. Here! A strong light flashed. The Sky Demon Dao sword tore open a crack and escaped into the void. Yang Hanwu took a deep breath. He wanted to stop it, but he could not. However, Yang Hanwu had left an imprint on the Sky Demon Dao sword. He could not trap it, but he could not let it escape so easily either. At the very least, Tiansha's primordial spirit had to be dealt with. The Sky Demon Dao sword could not be captured. It would be best if he could injure it and weaken it greatly. Otherwise, Yang Hanwu would not be so relaxed. After all, Tiansha had used his son, Yang Tianjun, to threaten him. He had caused so much trouble for Tiansha. If Tiansha could not find him for revenge, he might very well find his son, Yang Tianjun. Here! In the next moment, Yang Hanwu disappeared from where he was. When he appeared, he was in front of the Sky Demon Dao sword. Here! The Sky Demon Dao sword was already thousands of miles of it. Not good, that brat is coming. Tiansha's expression changed. He had not expected Yang Hanwu to be able to catch up. One had to know that the Sky Demon Dao sword had the ability to travel through space. It could ignore a portion of space barriers. Otherwise, the Sky Demon Dao sword would not have been able to enter Yang Hanwu's planar arc so easily. That despicable brat. His speed is shocking. Tiansha was frustrated. He had already given up, but this brat was still relentless. However, he had not expected Yang Hanwu to be able to travel through space as well. This did not make sense. He did not remember the Life Great Seal having the ability to travel through space. That brat left an imprint on me. Tiansha suddenly realized that something was wrong. He discovered that Yang Hanwu had left a wisp of aura on him. This wisp of aura could lock onto his position. This made him laugh bitterly. Previously, he had always used this method to lock onto others' positions. He had not expected it to be his turn this time. Clang! After he destroyed that wisp of aura, Yang Hanwu had already appeared not far from him. Yang Hanwu's aura had already locked onto him. Let's go! Tiansha did not hesitate. He knew that Yang Hanwu was extremely powerful. Moreover, the Sky Demon Dao sword had already left the Black Fiend Abyss. This was an excellent opportunity. It would be easier to recover in the sky-reaching continent than in the Black Fiend Abyss. After all, the Black Fiend Abyss was guarded by Berserker. He had no chance. You want to leave? Impossible. You'd better stay. Yang Hongwu's eyes glinted coldly. In an instant, an array formation appeared before him and enveloped the Sky Demon Dao sword and the Sky Baneful Sky. This could be used as a formation. It was a terrifying prison that the Sky Demon Dao sword and the Sky Demon Dao sword could not break out of. Damn it! Tiansha was extremely depressed. The Sky Demon Dao sword could have broken through the spatial barrier and escaped. However, it had already expended a lot of spatial power. Now, this formation seemed to be an absolute ceiling formation. It had a huge restriction on space, causing the Sky Demon Dao sword to no longer have enough spatial power to break through the spatial barrier and escape into the void. Of course, this was also because Zhigu had sealed the Sky Demon Dao sword, greatly reducing its power. As a result, the Sky Demon Dao sword could not leave the sky-reaching continent and the Zhigu Divine Hall. A series of reasons allowed Yang Hongwu's formation prison to trap the Sky Demon Dao sword. I said that you can't escape, Yang Hongwu said coldly. You're just a clone. How dare you threaten me? I can't let you live, Yang Hongwu said. A battle blade appeared in Yang Hongwu's hand. This was the primordial battle blade. After taking out the primordial battle blade, the aura that erupted from Yang Hongwu's body was terrifying. His entire body was like a terrifying battle blade that could destroy the heavens and earth. A domineering force appeared. Tiansha knew that he could not escape. This time, he was just a primordial spirit clone. He did not have enough power to resist Yang Hongwu. Especially when they were in Yang Hongwu's ceiling formation. He had seen Yang Hongwu's strength before, and Yang Hongwu's mastery of formations was unbelievably strong. Among all the people he had seen, almost no one could compete with him in terms of formations. Because he could not escape, he could only fight. Since he was going to die, he could not let Yang Hongwu have it easy. At the very least, the Sky Demon Dao sword could not be left here. If Yang Hongwu obtained the Sky Demon Dao sword, it would be bad. If Yang Hongwu did not have the life seal and did not have those endless trump cards, he would not be particularly worried even if the Sky Demon Dao sword landed in Yang Hongwu's hands. However, the key problem was that he did not know how many trump cards Yang Hongwu still had. If the Sky Demon Dao sword landed in his hands, who knew what would happen? Chapter 2020. At this point, Yang Hanwu had no other choice. The aura he had locked onto belonged to Tianxia. Now that Tianxia's primordial spirit avatar had self-destructed and completely disappeared, it was naturally impossible to find his location again. However, the Sky Demon Dao sword had also expended a lot of energy. If it wanted to recover, it would require sufficient time and spiritual qi. In this way, the Sky Demon Dao sword would not be able to do anything in a short period of time. This made Yang Hanwu feel much more at ease. Phew! At this moment, a strong aura appeared. Yang Hanwu's face changed. Was another enemy coming? Yang Hanwu acted as if he was facing a great enemy. He even took out the life seal, ready to deal a strong blow to the enemy. Don't attack. It's me. At this moment, a voice rang out. Yang Hanwu saw who it was and heaved a sigh of relief. It was none other than Crazy Warrior. So it's you. You scared me, Yang Hanwu said. I'm chasing after Tianxia's aura and the Sky Demon Dao sword, Crazy Warrior said. Senior, you're a step too late. Tianxia's clone has been killed by me, but the Sky Demon Dao sword has escaped again. Yang Hanwu was helpless. But why was the Sky Demon Dao sword able to break the seal of the Black Fiend Abyss and enter the sky-reaching realm? This was what surprised Yang Hanwu. The seal of the Black Fiend Abyss was extremely strong. All this time, the Sky Demon Dao sword had not come out. Why was it able to break the seal of the Black Fiend Abyss? This puzzled Yang Hanwu. Because of the Sky Fiend, the Sky Demon Dao sword borrowed the power of the Sky Fiend to break through the spatial seal of the Black Fiend Abyss and appear here. This was my negligence. Crazy Warrior said. In reality, he was not completely in the sky-reaching realm. After all, he still had to cultivate. Therefore, he was not in his complete body. One of his clones was cultivating in the void. This was only one of his clones here, but it occupied half of his power. Of course, it could also be said that this was his real body. He had divided his power into two parts. One part was guarding here, while the other was cultivating in the void. If he was at his peak, he would not have let this happen. But the crux of the problem was that he only had half of his power. Although the matter of the Sky Demon Dao sword left Yang Hanwu speechless, and even somewhat dissatisfied, he would not show it, nor did he dare. After all, Quang Zhan's current strength was not something he could contend against. Even if Quang Zhan had said that he was someone that his master, Zhi Gu, valued highly, Yang Hanwu still felt the same. Yang Hanwu even knew that if the great power in his body erupted, he should be able to contend against or even defeat Quang Zhan. He did not want to be an enemy of Crazy Warrior. Moreover, his son, Yang Tianjun, still needed to cultivate in the sky-reaching realm. It would be very beneficial for him to be taken care of and taught by Crazy Warrior. It would be even better if he could become a disciple of Crazy Warrior or Zhiga. After all, having a strong backer was definitely a good thing. Senior, I have a favor to ask of you. Yang Hanwu looked at Crazy Warrior and said. What is it? Just say it. If my conditions allow it, I will not refuse. Crazy Warrior seemed to have seen through Yang Hanwu's thoughts and said with a smile. I'm sure Senior already knows that I'm leaving the Skyspan continent and returning to my original plane. However, my son, Yang Tianjun, will continue to stay behind. He's not strong enough, and I've offended the heavenly demons and the heavenly demons. Therefore, I'm worried that he'll be in danger. Yang Hanwu looked at Wild Warrior and said, I was wondering if Senior could help me take care of that kid. This is a small matter. Your boy is quite talented. I would like to take him as a disciple, if he is willing. Crazy Warrior said. If Senior is willing, that would be his good fortune. Yang Hanwu said. Although he did not know if Crazy Warrior had any special intentions, at least for now, it was good for Yang Tianjun. Before he grew up, it was certainly a good thing that someone could take care of him. Yang Hanwu knew that even if Zhiga had any ideas or schemes, Yang Hanwu would not be in any danger, at least in the short term. As long as he dealt with the matters of the divine realm and improved his cultivation, he would find a way to enter the Zhiga divine palace again. At that time, he would not be afraid of Crazy Warrior, even if he was at his peak. That's good to hear. Crazy Warrior said with a laugh, looking very happy. How about this? I will ask him to come over now and see Senior. What do you think? Yan Hanwu said. There is no need to rush. Mad Warrior shook his head. Now is not the time. Besides, I'm going to chase after the Sky Demon Dao Sword. I can't let the Sky Demon Dao Sword run amok in the sky-piercing continent. Otherwise, it will be very troublesome. With that, Crazy Warrior disappeared on the spot. Yang Hanwu heaved a sigh of relief. No matter what, Yang Tianjuan's life would not be in any danger for a short period of time. As for ordinary dangers, it could be considered as an experience for him. An expert needed to be tempered in order to grow. If one did not go through trials and hardships, one would be like a flower in a greenhouse. It would be impossible for one to grow and become a true expert. This was naturally what Yang Hanwu did not want to see. What happened just now? Why did I feel a few powerful auras? I didn't even have the strength to resist. At this time, Yang Tianjun hurried over, looking very nervous. Pan and I was also very worried. Yang Hongwu looked at the mother and son and said, "It's okay. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. There was indeed a little problem just now, but it's nothing serious." Who were those people just now? Yang Tianjun looked at Yang Hanwu and said, "Those two auras were really terrifying. Could they be Dao Lords?" Hanwu said, "You guessed right. They are indeed Dao Lords. There are two Dao Lords in the sky-reaching continent. One is Sky Sha, and the other is Crazy Warrior. One of the terrifying sword chi is Sky Sha and Sky Demon Dao Sword. They are peerless experts of the heavenly demon race. The other is Crazy Warrior, a disciple of the Lord of the War-stopping Divine Hall. It's a pity that I didn't get to meet them." Hearing Yang Hongwu's explanation that there were really two Dao Lords, Yang Tianjun had a look of pity on his face. Chapter 2021. Alright, there's not much time left. Take these things, they'll be of help to you. Remember to keep this token well, it'll be used to deal with Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue. If the two of them have any ulterior motives, you can use it to deal with them. Yang Hanwu said and was about to open the planar boat. At this moment, Yang Hanwu was restless. Something must have happened in the divine domain. Therefore, Yang Hanwu had to leave early. Originally, he wanted to wait for some time to completely refine the life seal, but now, there wasn't enough time. "Husband, didn't we agree to wait for a few more hours? Why are you in such a hurry now?" Pan and I was reluctant to part with her son. After all, he was her son. If they were to part now, she didn't know when they would meet again in the future. Yang Hanwu said, "It's not that I don't want to, but time waits for no man. I'm a little restless. If I don't leave now, I'm afraid something will happen to them." Pan and I didn't say anything else. At this time, Yang Tianjuan's matter had been arranged. Moreover, as a son, he couldn't live under the wings of his parents all the time. In the end, he had to leave and have his own life. Moreover, she was very clear about her son's character. He had his own thoughts and it was absolutely impossible for him to stay by his parents' side all the time. Previously, if it wasn't for her being a burden as a mother, Yang Tianjun would have left long ago. Now that she was by Yang Hongwu's side, Yang Tianjun had no more fetters and naturally had to live his own life. Then, Pan and I took a deep breath and looked at Yang Tianjun. "Tianjun, you must be careful. You mustn't be rash or take risks. Do you understand? If you encounter an enemy that you can't handle, just run away. Husband, give the Heavenly Lord more talismans so that he can use them to protect himself, especially the teleportation talismans. You must have more of them." "There's no need for that, mother. Yang Tianjun shook his head and said, "Father has given me enough things. Moreover, if I have too many treasures to protect myself, I will become dependent on them. Once I become too dependent on treasures, it will be detrimental to my cultivation. If I want to become an expert, I can't rely on treasures. My own cultivation is the most important. Everything else is ultimately external." Yang Tianjun shook his head and said, "Father has given me enough things. Moreover, if I have too many treasures to protect me, I will become dependent on them." When Hanwu heard this, he was very satisfied. It was already very good that he could comprehend this point at such a young age. Back then, Yang Hanwu himself had also comprehended this point early on. That was why he had his current strength, but treasures are also very. Of course, ordinary treasures won't work, but supreme treasures can definitely help you. Supreme treasures can definitely help you. Which true expert doesn't have supreme treasures of creation? It's a pity that your father is still too weak. I don't have the ability to forge supreme treasures of creation for you. Yang Hanwu looked at Yang Tianjun and said, "However, you don't have to be too anxious. Your luck is not worse than mine. I believe that you will definitely get your own supreme treasure of creation." "Father, I understand." Yang Tianjun nodded and said, "Mother, I can't always be by your side to serve you. Here's a treasure armor that I have forged for you. Please accept it." As he spoke, Yang Tianjun took out an item. It was a white armor that exuded a wisp of the aura of creation. Yang Hanwu was very surprised to see that it was also a treasure at the level of creation. Although it wasn't a true supreme treasure at the level of creation, it did have the aura of creation and had an extraordinary origin. However, it seemed to be an incomplete supreme treasure. Even a half-step Tao Lord would be jealous of such a supreme treasure. Yang Hanwu was very surprised that Yang Tianjun had such a treasure. With his strength, it was impossible for him to obtain such a treasure. "Juner, mother appreciates your kindness. As for this treasure armor, keep it well. I don't need it. Your father is enough to protect me." Pan and I said, "Mother, this is a small token of my appreciation. You must accept it." Yang Tianjun insisted. Yang Hanwu looked at them and said to Pan and I, "This is a token of Tianjun's appreciation. You must accept it. Moreover, you must trust Tianjun." "All right then." Hearing Yang Hanwu's words, Pan and I still accepted the artifact armor. "I know that you have a supreme treasure, so I didn't prepare a good gift. I found this ore in an ancient site. Although I don't know what ore it is, it shouldn't be simple." Yang Tianjun took out a box after Pan and I accepted the treasure armor. After opening the box, there was a piece of black stone. There were strange runes on the stone. These runes were suffused with traces of light that seemed to be able to capture one's soul. Yang Yanghong looked at the stone and was very surprised. This stone could capture one's soul. Moreover, it could block the detection of his spiritual energy. It was not simple. It was definitely not simple. Although he didn't know what it was, he was sure that it contained a great secret. This thing is not simple. Perhaps, it is not less valuable than a supreme treasure of fate. Keep it for yourself. Perhaps one day, this thing will bring you great benefits. Yan Hanwu said. That's right. No, Lord Father. I've studied this thing for a long time, but I haven't been able to find any clues. This thing is not fated with me. Lord Father, you are very knowledgeable. Perhaps you can unravel the secrets contained in this thing. Moreover, isn't it the same if this thing is in my hands or Lord Father's? If Father can find the secret, it means that I have found the secret as well. Yang Tianjun said. Yang Hongwu hearing this, Hanwu nodded and accepted the item. All right, it's getting late. I have to leave. If you encounter a problem that you can't solve, crush this talisman. With that, Yang Hanwu took out the last item. It was a talisman that contained a special power. It was one of Yang Hongwu's incarnations. Yang Hanwu had left a powerful void teleportation force on this incarnation. Once the incarnation appeared, it could use the void teleportation force depending on the situation. But this could be. Therefore, the life-saving power of this talisman was absolutely top-notch. It could even protect oneself against a late-stage Tao Lord expert. This talisman had consumed more than 90% of Yang Hongwu's void teleportation force. Chapter 2022. For the sake of his son's safety, Yang Hongwu had gone to great lengths. After all, he was his own flesh and blood. He couldn't let him be in danger. "Thank you, father." Seeing that Yang Hongwu's face was slightly pale, Yang Tianjun knew what Yang Hongwu had done for him. These things must have cost him a lot. "You don't have to be so polite," Yang Hongwu said. "There's no need to be so polite between you and me." After settling everything on the sky-reaching continent, Yang Hongwu activated the planar boat with a thought. In the dimensional boat, Yang Hongwu could feel that it was indeed very powerful. Unfortunately, the dimensional boat consumed a huge amount of energy to travel through the void plane. It required a large amount of energy, and it also consumed the user's vast Dharma power. If it was an ordinary person, they would find it hard to withstand. Only those who had reached the half-step Tao Lord level would be able to withstand it. Ordinary people, even late-stage sovereigns, might not be able to support the planar boat to travel through the void planes accurately. This also made Yang Hongwu understand why the planar boat was a treasure of little value to some martial artists. No. He didn't expect the complete planar boat to have so many restrictions. No. However, for some powerhouses, the planar boat was definitely worth it. After all, it would be much easier to travel between the void planes with the planar boat. If they relied on their own strength to travel between the void planes, the price would be too high. Yang Hongwu drove the planar boat through the void and finally locked onto a space. This space was the divine territory he had been looking forward to for a long time. "I'm finally back." Yang Hongwu took a deep breath and opened the space barrier. The aura of the divine territory was familiar to Yang Hongwu. However, the current divine territory was much more powerful than before. The level of the divine territory had increased. Yang Hongwu was shocked. For example, if the previous God's domain could only be considered an ordinary material plane, the current God's domain could definitely be considered a higher material plane. As soon as Yang Hongwu entered the God realm, he discovered that there were several powerful auras in the God realm. The other party's strength was definitely at the Tao Lord level. Yang Hongwu was particularly disgusted by one of the auras. It was Zetian's aura. He didn't expect that Zetian had really come to this world. Damn it. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. He didn't expect that Zetian would become so powerful. She was a Tao Lord. His current strength was not enough to kill him. No, what Yang Hongwu was curious about was why such a huge change had occurred in the divine domain. Had the divine domain's spiritual chi recovered? Chuan, it was said that the divine domain was an ancient continent. At that time, the entire divine domain was filled with experts. It was the core of the myriad worlds. However, because of a great war, the divine domain had undergone a huge change. It was riddled with holes and was devastated. The originally prosperous divine domain continent had become a low-level material plane. However, the current divine domain had recovered its spiritual chi. Although it hadn't reached its peak state, it was still very terrifying. In fact, this was also the reason why there were so many celestial small worlds in the divine domain. Moreover, there were so many supreme treasures in these celestial small worlds. These supreme treasures seemed simple, but in fact, they were fragments of creation realm treasures that had evolved into heavenly Tao treasures. The so-called 9 divine domains in the divine domain were the orthodoxies of the 9 great Tao Lords. Each divine domain was incomparably vast. The divine domains that they had seen before were probably just the tip of the iceberg. What they saw was like a tiny star in the endless starry sky. However, now, the entire divine domain continent seemed to have begun to recover and was beginning to appear before their eyes. Yang Hongwu discovered that although his consciousness was powerful, he was unable to pry into a small corner of the current divine domain. It could be seen how huge the current divine domain was. This is the divine realm? Pan and I opened her mouth and said. Look! Pan and I was shocked by the current divine domain. Yes, this is the divine domain, Yang Hanwu said. Isn't this change too big? This is simply much bigger than the Skirich continent. The spiritual chi here is even richer than the Skirich continent. At this moment, Pan and I opened her eyes wide, not daring to believe everything she saw. I'm afraid that the divine domain that we saw before was just a small corner of the true divine domain. Now, the true appearance of the true divine domain has been revealed. Yang Hanwu took a deep breath and said. I'm afraid so. The divine domain is really too mysterious. It's hard to believe, Pan and I said. That's right. Yang Hanwu nodded. He had to admit this point. After returning to the divine domain, everything had changed. Then, Zetian was the lord of the demon domain. Now, Zetian's strength had already surpassed the Emperor realm and even surpassed the Emperor realm. His cultivation was still at the Emperor realm. He hadn't even reached the sovereign realm. How could he compete with Zetian? This point made Yang Hanwu very distressed. Zetian should have awakened and recovered his powerful strength from his previous life. Although there was also a powerful and domineering force in his body, if that force were to awaken, would he still be himself? Still, would he be able to have a sense of self? Yang Hongwu didn't know. He really didn't know. However, if he didn't borrow that force, how could he compete with Zetian? For example, how could he save his beloved? For this, at this moment, Yang Hanwu was at a loss and fell into deep thought. Wake up, Lord Husband, you need to wake up, you need to pull yourself together. The sisters are still waiting for you. At this time, seeing that something was wrong with Yang Hanwu, Pan Ni's expression changed greatly and she hurriedly spoke. If you continue like this, you will disappoint me and the sisters. Do you want the sisters to fall into the hands of the devil? Yang Hongwu's body trembled. You don't even believe in yourself? Pan and I saw Yang Hongwu's reaction and loudly berated, if you don't pull yourself together like this, you will disappoint me and the sisters. How can the man we fancy be a dispirited and dispirited trash? Didn't you defeat so many powerful enemies in the past? Chapter 2023. I wonder which divine domain this is. Yang Hanwu recovered and looked at the world before him. The real divine domain was divided into 9 major divine domains and 4 minor divine domains. There were a total of 13 continents, and this divine domain had a unique aura. Yang Hanwu had never been here before. He had never been here before. However, based on the spiritual energy here, this should belong to one of the 9 major divine domains and not one of the 4 minor divine domains. Someone's coming. His aura isn't weak. Yang Hanwu looked into the distance and saw a black figure rushing over. Is it a friend or a foe? Pan and I was slightly worried. After all, if it was an enemy, it would be troublesome. I don't know. Yang Hanwu shook his head. However, it's fine. The other party isn't too strong and isn't a match for me. Even if he's an enemy, I can still suppress him. Yang Hanwu was very confident about this. Although the divine domain had changed greatly, his strength had also increased significantly. As for true Dao Lord level experts, although there were still very few of them, in the entire divine domain, there were only a few. In the entire divine domain, there might be Dao Lord level experts in the 9 major divine domains. It was impossible for the other divine domains to have Dao Lord level experts. However, Yang Hongwu's current strength could definitely suppress a half-step Dao Lord expert. Even if he couldn't suppress him, he would definitely be in an invincible position. Even if he couldn't defeat him, escaping would be no problem. The person in front of him was only a peak emperor. He wasn't even at the sovereign realm. Yang Hanwu naturally wasn't worried. Not to mention a peak emperor, even a peak sovereign realm expert could be easily defeated. That's good. Pan and I heaved a sigh of relief when she heard Yang Hongwu's words. In fact, Pan Ni's strength was enough to deal with the other party. However, unlike Yang Hongwu, she couldn't be sure that there was no stronger existence behind the other party. However, Yang Hongwu was absolutely sure that there was only one person behind the other party. Just in time. I can ask where this place is. Yang Hongwu said. Who's there? Gong Sun Yan's expression changed slightly when he saw that someone was blocking his way, as if he was facing a great enemy. However, seeing that the other party was not weak, and that there were two of them, Gong Sun Yan dared not make a move recklessly. Brother, there's no need to be nervous. Yang Hongwu was surprised to see the other party running for his life. Get out of the way, don't block my way. Gong Sun Yan originally wanted to go around, but he realized that he had been locked onto by the other party. Moreover, the other party gave him a very dangerous feeling. The aura was even stronger than that of the family head. Terrifying. He did not dare to be careless. He only hoped that the other party was really not an enemy. I just want to ask a few questions. At this time, Yang Hongwu discovered that a few more auras were rushing over from afar. Each aura was on par with this person, and one of them was even stronger than him. Of course, as a reward, I can help you solve some of your problems, Yang Hongwu said. The person in front of him did not have too much karma on him, but the people chasing him all had a lot of karma on them. They reeked of blood. It was obvious that they had done a lot of evil things and killed people without hesitation. For cultivators, almost everyone's hands were stained with blood. However, being stained with blood didn't mean that they had killed innocent people. Obviously, the guy in front of him wasn't like that. He didn't kill innocent people. Therefore, there wasn't such a strong karma on him, and there wasn't such a strong smell of blood. However, the person who was chasing him was different. This was also the reason why Yang Hongwu had a good impression of him, and he was able to get along with him. If it had been anyone else, Yang Hongwu would have immediately taken action to suppress them. Can you help me get rid of those people? Gong Sun Yan shook his head. Impossible. Although the two of you are strong, you are no match for them. You'd better leave quickly. Their target is me. Gong Sun Yan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the two of them were not here to stop him. However, when he realized that the pursuers were about to catch up, his expression changed and he became very nervous. He said to Yang Hongwu, I'll stop them so that you don't get involved. As soon as he said this, Yang Hongwu liked him. Although this kid was not very strong, he had a good heart. There were not many people who had such a heart nowadays. It's okay. Although their strength is not bad, they are not in my eyes. Yang Hongwu smiled and said, they are just ants. You, do whatever you want. Gong Sun Yan was very angry. Although he wanted to escape, it was too late. The pursuers had already caught up. Gong Sun Yan, you can't escape. At this time, the pursuers had already caught up. There were 6 of them, all of them were Emperor-level experts. This surprised Yang Hongwu. Although there had been a great change in the divine realm, imperial emperors were as common as cabbages. This made Yang Hongwu sigh with emotion. One should know that imperial emperors were extremely common in the divine realm. Before he left the deity realm, emperor-level experts were very rare. Those who were able to cultivate to the imperial emperor realm, which one of them wasn't an overlord? Now, so many emperor-level experts had appeared casually. Yang Hongwu could not help but sigh. It was not easy for him to cultivate to the emperor level in the Tongtian continent. He thought that when he returned to the deity realm, he would become the person with the highest cultivation level in the deity realm. He would be able to easily sweep the entire deity realm, take control of the entire deity realm, and refine it completely. Refine it into his own inner world. But everything was beyond his expectations. Oh, there are 2 helpers. TSK. That girl is not bad. Leave her to me. One of the wretched-looking men saw Pan and I, and his eyes lit up. You are courting death. Hearing this, Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed coldly. He stretched out his right hand, and in an instant, surging spiritual power condensed into a huge hand and grabbed at the man. Before he could even react, Yang Hongwu had already grabbed him and brought him over. Help! After he came back to his senses, he found that he was controlled and could not move at all. This made him panic and cry for help. Chapter 2024. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. They were well aware of Sun Tongho's strength. Although Sun Tongho wasn't the strongest among them, he wasn't the weakest either. At least, no one could defeat him so easily. It was impossible to defeat him, let alone kill him. However, everything in front of him was like a dream. A third-level Imperial Emperor was actually beaten to death in an instant. Even his physical body and soul had vanished into thin air. It could be said that he had completely disappeared in the void. This scene was too terrifying. What was the background of this man in front of them? How could he be so terrifying and powerful? Sun Yuanxiong couldn't help but take a few steps back. The others also did the same. They were afraid that the man in front of them would attack them again. At that time, they wouldn't even know how they died. Who the hell are you? Do you want to go against our myriad immortal sect? Sun Yuanxiong looked at Yang Hongwu and scolded loudly. Myriad immortal sect? Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, never heard of it. You? Sun Yuanxiong was infuriated when he heard this. This brat had such a big mouth. He didn't even care about the myriad immortal sect. Sun Yuanxiong was an emperor, but he was only a deacon of the myriad immortal sect. In the myriad immortal sect, experts were as common as clouds. Even a sovereign realm expert was only a hall master in the myriad immortal sect. That was why there was a Tao Lord expert in the myriad immortal sect, who was the strongest cultivator in the entire eternal god domain. The myriad immortal sect was undoubtedly the overlord of the eternal god domain. No one could shake their position in the eternal god domain. Even Gong Sunyan was stunned. In the eternal god domain, there was actually someone who didn't care about the myriad immortal sect. This was really unbelievable. Get lost. Otherwise, all of you will stay here. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly and said. All right. Brat, just you wait. How dare you offend my myriad immortal sect? Your death will come soon. Sun Yuanxiong roared and left after saying those words. Yang Hongwu said coldly, you still dare to threaten me? I hate being threatened the most. Since you dare to threaten me, then stay. Yang Hongwu once again condensed a giant hand. This hand turned into a giant palm and slammed towards Sun Yuanxiong and the others. Seeing this scene, Sun Yuanxiong and the others instantly turned pale with fright. They had never imagined that the other party would be so tyrannical, directly attacking them. Moreover, this attack contained a terrifying pressure that made them feel as if they could not resist at all. In fact, that was indeed the case. They simply didn't have the ability to block such a terrifying attack. Yang Hongwu gave them too much pressure. They weren't on the same level as Yang Hongwu. If Yang Hongwu wanted to kill them, it was simply too difficult. It was a piece of cake. Damn it, he's going too far, he's going too far. Everyone attack together, let's fight it out with him. Sun Yuanxiong roared and charged forward. Die. However, although they were strong, they were too weak in front of Yang Hongwu. They were like paper, unable to withstand a single blow. Sun Yuanxiong and the others couldn't resist Yang Hongwu's attack and were directly beaten up. They were crippled. This slap killed everyone except Sun Yuanxiong. Although Sun Yuanxiong was still alive, he was already severely injured. Seeing this scene, Gong Sunyan was stunned. Although he knew that Yang Hongwu was very strong, he didn't expect him to be so strong. Terrifying, too terrifying. How could this be something that a mere Imperial Monarch realm martial artist could accomplish? Which old antique was this? He must have concealed his cultivation to be so terrifying. Even if he wasn't a Tao Lord, he was at least a half-step Tao Lord expert. You, spare me, spare my life. Sun Yuanxiong looked at Yang Hongwu and saw him walking towards him. Step by step, Sun Yuanxiong was terrified to the extreme. This god of death was too terrifying. His brothers were killed by a single slap. As for himself, if it wasn't for a life-saving talisman, he would have died without a doubt. However, that talisman was a life-saving talisman. Although his life was saved, it still couldn't change his fate because he couldn't escape at all. No one could help him, so he was bound to die. Yang Hanwu didn't care about him at all and directly killed him. Senior, if you kill them all, you'll really be going up against the Myriad Immortal Sect. The Myriad Immortal Sect is the overlord of the Eternal God Realm. Their sect master, Gu Wanxian, is extremely strong. He's a Tao Lord expert. His name is Myriad Immortal. He's the strongest person in the ancient God Realm. Gong Sunyan looked at Yang Hanwu and said, "You'd better leave the Eternal God Realm quickly. Otherwise, you'll be targeted by the people of the Myriad Immortal Sect. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to resist them." Hearing this, Yang Hanwu understood that this God Realm was the Eternal God Realm of the 13 God Realms. This Eternal God Realm was definitely one of the 9 God Realms and was extremely powerful. There was actually a Tao Lord expert. However, Yang Hanwu wasn't surprised. "It's okay, don't worry. It's just the Myriad Immortal Sect. I don't care about it." Yang Hanwu looked at him and said, "I want to ask you something. You should know about the common people's God Realm and the Demon Realm, right?" "I know. The common people's God Realm has undergone a huge change. Now, a part of the common people's God Realm seems to have disappeared. Rumor has it that it was taken away by a peerless expert. As for the Demon Realm, originally, it wasn't considered strong. However, the strength of the Demon Realm's master has undergone a huge change. Originally, the master of the Demon Realm was only an expert of the Emperor Realm. However, for some unknown reason, the master of the Demon Realm's cultivations suddenly increased tremendously and directly entered the Tao Lord Realm. Moreover, his strength is also very strong. In the entire God Realm, he's definitely in the top 3. Furthermore, his strength is still increasing. In the entire God Realm, no one dares to touch him." Gong Sunyan said, "Senior, which God Realm are you from? How come you don't even know about these things?" Gong Sunyan was very curious about the questions raised by Yang Hanwu. There was no reason for such an expert to not know about the basic situation of the God Realm. The questions he asked were all asked by almost everyone in the God Realm. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.